Hi, and welcome to Thursday with a Friend. My name is Lawrence, Larry, or Punk, or so many other awful words you may want to call me. And today, my special guest, the Savage Land. Thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Lawrence, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for joining. And also, thank you for being able to show up when I originally did say the 8th. And completely had everything mixed up.
Yeah.
Because when you hit me back up and you're like, I think you said the 8th, I was like, oh no, we're not gonna do this. This is gonna be one of those guys that. And I went and looked. I'm like, you're absolutely correct. So I definitely do appreciate it. Yes, even I do make mistakes, and obviously from the video that I put out today, I was wrong.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I've really been from the beginning kind of discussing how people aren't going to want 6-inch scaled vehicles. And over a year ago, I did that video, and boy, I got to eat some crow on that. So, plus, hey, you know what? I had some time to create some content, so why not, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, I be honest with you, man. As big as a fuss that Engine of Vengeance had, man, people were really craving for 1/12 scale, and that's why that car was such a big issue, because there really wasn't a lot of meat on the bone. Now we have a buffet of vehicles that we can pretty much choose from different brands. So
man, there's so many, and I don't see it slowing down right now. So I was completely wrong, and I'm okay with that. You know, you don't have to have everything, but it's nice to have an assortment of stuff. So
correct.
I know you have a lot of stuff because we've seen your videos. You have a whole table there.
Right, the table behind me.
Yeah. So let me ask just start off. Where does your name come from? Because I don't think your parents named you the Savage Land.
That was a good one, man. Oh man, basically, because I love X-Men, and really Classified really brought me back to the love of G.I. Joe. So it's just kind of a play on words, the Savage Land. I collect all these different lines, which now I've kind of slimmed it down to Classified, and I still cherry pick on a few other things. But I was like, man, it's just a Savage Land, and just now, it's just a play on words. It's even in like slang, man, he a savage, or just things like that. And be honest with you, man, when I first put my channel on, I was trying to be like, man, like, what do I want to call myself? I should call myself Starscream. And I was like, nah, I'm not into Transformers. That ain't gonna work. So, man, I just never said a name, and then everybody who watched the show, man, just called me Savage. So I was like, you know what, that's pretty dope. I can run with that. So it's just like when you run the streets gonna give you a name. You don't choose your name. It's gonna give you a name. And just like this show here, they gave me the name Savage, man. But I don't mind people calling me by my real name. I have nothing to hide from. I'm pretty sure when I was running through those Facebook groups, I'll be under my real name, Michael Henley. So it's either or, man. But the people who watch my show gave me that name Savage. I didn't come up with that per se, as that's my name. But Savage Land is a play on words. But it comes from the X-Men.
And I had actually wondered that, and that's why, again, when I saw Savage Land, you don't think of a G.I. Joe content creator. You think of X-Men. At least I did, because I do know what the Savage Land is. And again, it doesn't mean you can't collect other things because you like something else. But yeah, so I was wondering, but again, it's nice. It's nice to call you Michael rather than Savage. Savage isn't bad. I mean, I never expected people to call me Punk, and so many people refer to me as Punk, and it's just like, oh, it just sits there.
It's dope, though. It's dope. It's dope. It's a dope name. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just what you just think of it, like, yo, that's Punk right there. You know what I'm saying? And
I think it'd be weird if I'm introducing myself at the beginning, like, hey, I'm Punk, and it's like, all right, your parents hate you, or are you just an idiot? If you watch Jim Rome, you don't gloss yourself. You let, like you said, you let the community gloss you. So
correct, man. But yeah, just one thing, when I did my when I first ever YouTube video, I did did an interview on myself. It's called episode 00, and I pretty much go through that, and I say the name of the show, how much I love X-Men the cartoon growing up, and how much like this was what in 2021 I was captivated by the classified line then, and I believe we had probably just maybe haven't even got to barbecue yet. So it's definitely jumped leaps and bounds since then, but it was always good then, you know, compared to all the rest of the other action figures.
Classified has definitely brought in people that were not Joe fans before. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about that. It has brought in people that were never Joe fans. That I mean, there's no way you're our age and don't know what G.I. Joe is.
Correct.
But the amount of people that have left other lines because of what they're seeing and what they enjoy that the Hasbro team is giving them, it's amazing. And it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome because it's always been my first love when it came to toys. So, But before we get into everything, let's say hi to the chat really quick. And if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. And also in the description will be the links to, I only put a link to your YouTube because I didn't know if you wanted people to have your Instagram. So
no, that's fine
later if you don't have an issue. But all right, so we have Mr. Mad Gus is here. We have Aaron the Toy Enhancer, one of the people that actually got to meet you at Joe Fest because I was so popular that you just couldn't break through all the people to say hi.
Yeah, but no, you was having a one-on-one conversation. But I swear to God, man, you was like Wilson from Home Improvement. I was just seeing like the side of your face. I was walking by like, there you go, right there. You know what I'm saying? But in all honesty, man, I thought I would see you again, but I just didn't after that.
Next Joe Fest, I'm gonna have to bring a fence that I can just put in front of my face every time I walk by you. Let's see. Woody 222 is here. Jay Astro is in the house. G.I. Bro, the guy with the best guns in the community. Matthew Matson, my moderator, is here. Eric Thurman is here. Same Time Toys. We have Viper Scout, who will be a guest very soon here. And let's see here. Todd C is here. We have Fatrid is in the house. The Real Grievance. Is there a fake Grievance? I'm not sure. He's never really explained if there's a fake one. Tony Legend Series is here. John Battle, Toyamic Displays, Gun Bunny Customs, Tony's Figs. This kind of tells me that KJ, you must be done, right? Because KJ usually runs over a little bit. Plastic Skulls is in the house. And Model Misfits, and I'm sure more people will be coming through here. The Real Grievance says a lot of fakes everywhere, brother. You know, there are fake people all over. I will 100% agree with you on that. But it seems like it just be more energy to be fake than just be yourself.
It does.
You know, I've never understood people that lie about things because then you have to remember what you lied about.
Yep.
It's easier just not to.
Correct. You have no reason to.
Oh, and not Rachel is here. Yep, KJ's done. All right. So let's start off quickly with, do you mind me asking how old you are or what age you are?
I'm 41, man. I just turned 41 on July 11th. Matter of fact, on Cobra Convergence, I picked that day because that was my birthday, man. So I released it on my birthday for a little treat for myself. So I'm 41, born in 1983.
Man, so you're a youngin', and belated happy birthday also.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're young. You're young. I'm always, I guess, anywhere in the 40s. It's you kind of. It makes sense. It's when like B's Battleground, who's in his early 30s, like how the hell do you like G.I. Joe? But what?
Damn, I thought he was 50 or something.
Okay, true story about B's is all right. True story about B's.
Too damn, he in his early 30s.
He sounds like a 60-year-old that smokes like a pack of cigarettes a day.
Wow.
he joined my Facebook group, right? And I see Bobby B, and I'm thinking, well, I guess it could be someone else, but I don't think, So I messaged him, I'm like, hey, did you just join the Facebook group? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, I thought you were like a 60-year-old vet that smoked like a pack of cigarettes a day with that voice. And he's like, no, he's like early 30s. I just have that voice. I'm like, he's a big muscular guy. Like, not what you think. What you hear is not what you what you think. And I was blown away. So I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought that, but I was sure like he was some just bitter mid 60-year-old that smoked cigarettes, probably served in Vietnam, hated everything.
Well, just the way he talks about the Joes, I just thought he was older. And like you said, when it comes to my age, because I was born the same year Aura came out, I'm a youngin on that end. But my years, really my years in G.I. Joe, I was actually remember going to the stores, them neon years. But I'm identify more with like 87, 88 because I had older brothers. Each one of my older brothers was 4 years older than me. So a lot of the Road Pigs around that time, Storm Shadow 2, that era, that 87, 88, 89 era, I'm more familiar with them Joes than your original, what's it, 13 or however many. I don't know anything about, never even had those because that was just, I was on I'm second generation Aura, I guess you would say.
But even
second
then,
or third generation.
At that age, there's still a lot of hand-me-downs. There's not a lot of hand-me-downs if you're in your early 30s, but I kind of forgot that there was a lot of Joes on the Kmart pegs, in Toys R Us, and probably because I wasn't collecting at the time, I would always go into Toys R Us and see what's there. But I guess when you're looking at oh, hey, look at the G.I. Joes, there's a nice little section. But I remember the heyday where there was a whole aisle in Toys R Us that was dedicated to vehicles and figures. And so I guess, I didn't really, it's hard for me to, it was hard for me to realize like, oh, wait a minute, these guys in the 30s did have Joes. They had O-rings. They just weren't our O-rings or my O-rings that, that we had. So that's how he's so into it. And there's been a few other people, but yeah, it is weird when I hear someone that's in their 30s that is a Joe collector, like just a Joe, just a Joe lover. And you're like, how? It's like, oh, it was around.
Well, it be honest with you, then you got to look at me, a guy like me, maybe because everybody has that infamous story where a shoebox gets given away. And I think mine got given away in like 96. So in 96, I was like 12, 97, 13, something like that. So
okay, now you're young.
those guys. Huh?
Now I like, man, you're young.
yeah, like 1997, I was 13, 14 years old. Yeah, so my box definitely got given away to somebody which had my era of Joe's. And like I remember going to the store getting like Cesspool. This is like 1993, 92. So that toxic era, you know what I'm saying? But that's not my favorite. That's my era, but that's not my favorite set of Joe's. Really my favorite set is the 88, 89, 87, around that time, those guys.
Nope, fully understand. All right, so do you mind me asking where you grew up and how was your family life growing up there? I mean, you obviously said you already had a couple brothers that passed things down. So where did you grow up and like how was your family life?
I grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina, pretty much Fort Bragg. They call it Fort Liberty now, but I grew up here my entire life. And that's probably the only reason I can probably go into the military because I see it all day. Like I see Apaches, tanks, just car. I mean, the whole base, you know what I'm saying? Like when Washington, D.C. calls 911, they dial Fort Bragg. This is one of the biggest bases. So everything is here. Camp McCall, and then even out on the coast, just a whole bunch of different bases. But mostly it's a military town. It's not really a small town. It's like a small city. But family life was good, man. I didn't really have too much growing up. I never really had any G.I. Joe vehicles. I had like like the smaller snow vehicle. I believe Avalanche came with that. Avalanche. Yeah, so I think he had came with a vehicle one time. That's the only vehicle I remember, man. But family life was good. My parents had separated when I was a kid, but my dad was in my life. And I worked in construction with him when I was a kid, you know. So family's pretty close. Just your normal, you know what I'm saying, upbringing, family, nothing crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like just I don't know. I was a knee baby. So I don't know, man. My upbringing was really easy. Like I didn't really give my parents too much trouble. The hell I did raise, they never seen it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. When I like when I was in high school, man, I just kind of was like Ferris Bueller, man. I went to school when I wanted to go to school, but I was smart. You know what I'm saying? Like I could code some shit with a C, B minus average. You know what I'm saying? And I did get out of there. High school wasn't shit to me. I crushed that. So it was cool, man. You know what I'm saying? My parents didn't give me too much slack. I had a lot of freedom growing up, man. And just it was fun, man. To be honest with you, my upbringing was fun. Sometimes I wish I could be a fly on the wall back in those days and just just look.
I wouldn't mind going back and being a teenager, knowing what I know now, and enjoying what I enjoyed then, but being able to enjoy it going, you know what? It's never going to matter. Like, go skate that thing and do what you want to do because you come out perfectly fine on this end. But you ain't doing it when you're in your 40s, all right? I'll let you ride around on that skateboard, but those tricks are going to be very limited these days. So how many siblings did you have?
I have on my mom's side, I have 2 older brothers, 1 younger sister, and on my dad's side, I have an older brother and a younger sister. And on each side, I'm right before the girl, you know what I'm saying, the last girl, you know what I'm saying. So quite a bit, man. I have another brother who died a long time ago. He died from leukemia back in like 2001, man. So you're looking at about 4 brothers, 2 sisters, split between 2 families, because that's how I split my time between my mother and my father. I mostly stayed with my mom, but my dad was he was there. My dad was a good dad. He had his struggles, he had his troubles in life, but he was a strong black man, and he made it through that shit, to be honest with you.
Atomic Display says, take your shirt off, twist it around your head, and spin it like a helicopter. Am I missing something?
Hey, do you know who he's talking about? I know you punk rock.
No, I don't think I do.
Man, he's talking about it's a rapper from North Carolina named Petey Pablo. That was a popular song back in like early 2000s. It was like North Carolina, but it was cool, man. But I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we got a much better rapper to represent us now. J. Cole, straight from Vietnam.
I would not know that. I can tell you. I went through the 90s, through the 2000s, until now. Cars that have like two FM stations programmed, and one being sports, and the other is usually like the oldie station.
Nice.
Everything else is punk rock, metal. When I had Sirius, it was always like 60s, 70s, 80s music. Not a big pop fan, not a big rap fan. Maybe the older rap, Public Enemy and stuff like that. When you're younger, you're learning stuff, and there's stuff that just kind of sticks with you. So,
be honest with you, I can understand Public Enemy because being that you're a skater, especially coming up in the 80s, I know some skater kids who listen to Public Enemy because they were different then. You know what I'm saying? Like from the norm, but they shit was tough though.
Yeah, a lot of that comes from like the New York hardcore. They're all big into like. There's when you look at like New York hardcore, like punk hardcore, they are so tied with like hardcore rap from not EPMD, KRS-One, Public Enemy, like all of them, they really do share the same. I mean, they come from the same areas, the same deprived areas. The only difference is rappers are mostly black and don't play instruments, and The hardcore guys are white and scream and yell and play instruments bad.
You got to think about those two genres and what is, and even though I don't know if punk started in which you probably would know, but I know some of the early origins of punk rock music came out of New York City. But you got to think both of those two music genres kind of birthed out of the death of disco. Yeah. They pretty much took elements from both of them and went their kind of like their separate ways, but still together. But in New York City, that's, almost kind of like the mecca of that, man. Because I love all music. I listen to all music. I'm hip hop all day, but I love all music. To be quite honest with you, man. All genres. I can pick a good song out of anything.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of people that are like that. I'm not. If I like the way it's, people will like bring up Eminem to me, and I'm like, I think what I hear sounds good, but I don't listen to it. And they're like, but you're from Detroit. I'm like, and your point is, there's a lot of people from Detroit that I don't like. All right.
What about Kid Rock? You like him?
God no. Okay, that music is awful. I mean, they ever play like 7 shows in a row here, and they're all sold out. And I'm just like, that is awful music.
He went a little further than he was supposed to go. I'll be honest with you, but if he made it work. I did.
If you ever heard like his first albums, like Yodeling in the Valley and stuff, it's this really bad rap, and I only know it because other kids in like high school listened to it.
You talking about from the early '90s when he had like a box and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard about it. I know. I look at everything. So I know what you're talking about. His first startup, he failed.
Yeah, he grew up in Romeo, Michigan, which is about 20 miles out of Detroit. I grew up at 16 Mile, which is 8 miles out of Detroit. Now, if you ask me where I'm from, I'm going to tell you I'm from Detroit, because telling you I'm from Clinton Township, you're going to go, where the hell's that? You're going to say, that's by Detroit.
Right.
I'm never going to tell people I'm from Detroit that live in the area, right? When people ask about Eminem, and they're like, well, what about where he grew up? I'm like, well, he grew up in Warren, right on the other side, and yeah, it was a shithole. All right. I'm just 100% honest. Like, and I mean, I knew the movie 8 Mile. I've never seen the movie 8 Mile. I've seen parts of it. Mm-hmm. And it was when I was in Dallas for training, and I was talking to some guys there, and the guy goes, what is 8 Mile? And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, what is it? He's like, the movie talks about it. I'm like, oh. I'm like, it didn't even dawn on me. Like, 8 Mile is just the border of the suburbs in Detroit. But like in certain areas, it's just as bad on both sides. There's other areas that it's beautiful on one side, and on the other side, you're like, that's Detroit. But you know how inner cities are. I mean, they all have their bad and good areas.
Right.
But 8 Mile, I mean, I got to say, Detroit is a very weird place. I've talked to a lot of people from outside the area, different states, and they're like, I've just never seen such a segregated area that shouldn't be how it is. Like it's just crazy. But it's not about me; it's about you. No,
that's all good, man. I've never been, man. I just to say I'll go, man. But I'm not gonna be the one to lie. Most time when you hear about Detroit, you don't hear too much good stuff. But at the end of the day, not like because just all the economic problems and the decaying of the city, which pretty much the auto industry caused huge losses, which kind of made the city die a little bit, man. But it'll come back. It'll come back, man. But I've never been, and I actually just want to say I've been there. I'm a type of guy. I like to go places and be like, you know what? Well, at least I've been here before. I never thought I would go to Colorado, Nebraska, all them places, but shit, I've been there.
Nebraska's what I had to go there for a job, and we ended up in I want to say it was Lincoln. It wasn't right in Lincoln where all the the college town, but like right on the outside, and it was a pretty cool town. I gotta say that. Wouldn't want to live there. I'll say that.
Well, you know, like even growing up down south, like people say, "Oh man, you country or whatever," and that's cool. But when you start going to places like the Midwest, like Kansas, like there's certain areas there's nobody occupying these places, just big rolling land masses, man, and it's crazy, man. I had never seen anything like that before, because even though like down south is wood is not as built up as maybe the Northeast, but there's people all in these woods, you know, there's people everywhere, you know what I'm saying? But there it's kind of empty.
I am a city person. I want to hear horns. I want street lights. I want to hear police sirens. I don't want to be 2 miles from my closest neighbor. Now, I live in a townhouse, and I really don't want to be right next to my neighbor with her house connected to mine. But, you know, I like being able to get in and be at Target in less than 10 minutes.
Correct. Yeah. Accessibility, man. And that's me too. I could do both. I mean, if I could have it my way, I would occupy places in all different spots, you know, but for the most part, like where I live at now, I live on the outskirts of Fayetteville, and my neighborhood is like a little country neighborhood with only like 8 houses. But be honest with you, when I be talking with my wife, like we could have went for a big ass open field with nobody around us, but we're still close to get to places, man. But you know, it's just,
yeah, there's a lot of places where it's like I live in an area that's country-like or country light, I guess, but I can be to the city within 20 minutes.
Yes, and that's perfect. I want. That's perfect. That's perfect right there.
Me, I want to be able to hit 7-Eleven. Not that I even go to 7-Eleven ever, but I like the idea of it.
You need a corner store. You always need a corner store near.
Yeah.
Anybody. You always need a corner store. You never know what you need to go get from the corner store. But the crazy part about it is like even like with those places, then that's what's going on now. Like Fayetteville is building an outer loop. It already has a piece of it, but there's a new extension to kind of make it connect back into I-95. And I live like out in the cut, but now there's like this huge freeway, like half a mile being built from my house. So I got to deal with that, man. But it's cool. So it'll be good and accessible. But as of right now, it's like I laugh because like all these people used to live like in the country, you know, with no problems. Now you got a huge freeway going through your backyard. But the city needed it, to be quite honest with you. Been needed for a long time.
That seems how we have an area here where people are like, we moved out this way because there weren't that many people. But eventually more people start moving out that way. And now it's just its own, you know, suburb where, hey, sorry you liked country. You should have moved out a little bit further.
Kind of pack up and leave again.
There's always up north from Michigan. But anyway, quickly, we'll jump around because I have the worst ADHD, and
it's all good.
So you said you had a couple older brothers, but you said they're like 4 years older than you.
Yeah. And matter of fact, my oldest brothers are 8 years older than me. The one on my dad's side and the one on my mom's side, they're both 8 years older than me. And then I have another brother who was 4 years older than me, and then like my brother who died was 2 years older than me. So we had a nice decent age gap on us, you know.
So I mean, 2 years older and then 4 years older. 2 years probably is what I would assume. Did you kind of have a built-in play friend then?
Well, it goes like this, Lawrence.
Hey, that's what we're here. We're here to learn about you, all right?
My older brother that was 2 years older than me, man. My dad had him with his college girlfriend, man. So he was kind of always like estranged to me. So I didn't meet him till I was like maybe 8 or 9, and he died when he was 19 and I was 17. Now we hung out. We had a few times to hung out, but we didn't have a close bond like say like my other brothers, because my dad for a long time they were kind of going back and forth. Like I didn't even know he even existed until I was like 8 or 9. You know, let alone, you know what I'm saying, like my dad coming back into my life when I was 5. You know what I'm saying? 5 or 6. You know what I'm saying? And you know, as the years went on, our bond got a little closer. But so by the time I'm 10, you know, like my dad's regularly in my life, and I meet Kevin. I'm like 10 or 11. So there was a short span of me getting with him, but we had some fun. We had a time to go out. We went to down here in on Myrtle Beach. They have like they have a black bike week and a white bike week. You know what I'm saying? So the white bike week happens actually on May.
That doesn't sound racist or nothing.
It is.
I put two and two together, right?
Yeah, it is. That shit is. They get to be like the Black Bike Week, man. It's almost like you in South Africa and shit, man. Like it's the police presence. But you know what I'm saying? The same stuff goes on. But we had a good time, man. I think that was like 1999, 2000. I was still in fucking high school. But you know, you go down there for the weekend, motorcycles, cars, girls, man. You know, and just having fun, man. So I did get the chance to hang out with him like that. But he was sick then. He had a big pot belly. And we was wondering, he was like, what's going on with Kevin Belly? You know what I'm saying? So I guess that's where it was growing at in there. And a couple of months later, we found out he had leukemia, because he was a slim guy. He was a slender guy, but he had this big old pot belly. A man, 19 years old. I'm like, because I hadn't seen him for like maybe like a year or so, you know, before then. So because like times I would see him be sporadic, but you know, after that, you know, he found out he had leukemia, man. And then he didn't last too much longer after that, man. It was kind of weirdest thing. It came out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. He was kind of he was a wild boy though, but he was just, you know, young growing up. But he was a good dude though. He was a wild boy.
That's too young. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, a lot of us have suffered losses, and just, man, you look at that, and it's like that's just too young. And I'm sorry for your loss. I mean.
Nah, man, it's all good, man. The older I get, man, you know, the more I necessarily say embrace death, because my grandfather died when he was 105. It was like a couple of years ago, but when he was like 90 something, he said, you know, I'm scared of death. I mean, because ain't nobody ever came back and told me from the other side what it's like. So that type of bravery and scare, you're gonna have that. But the older I get, we all gonna die. You know, it's just, you never know when. You just gotta try to live your life. Try to do the best that you can, and you know.
I'll be honest. I think I'd be more scared if my mom showed up and said, "Hey, just so you know, it's really cool over here. Like, hey, you've been gone since I was 13. Don't show up here as a ghost." All right? I
don't know, man. That probably give me some reinsurance. I was like, well, shit, let me make sure I damn sure get my act together. She said it's good over here. But
I don't know. I mean, action figs and Ed and myself, like we said, hey, hell's going to be a lot of fun because all of us are going there. Don't make me reconsider what I've been doing for almost 49 years.
Wow.
So, okay, as a kid, you said you had a pretty good life. Do you remember like the first toys that you gravitated to, like your first toys that you used to play with? I know for us, we all remember like our adventure people. I remember the Lone Ranger figures that I had, and obviously Star Wars, you know, came as I was born at the end of '75. Do you remember like the first toys you really had that you played with?
Mm-hmm. It was actually G.I. Joe's, like I actually played with. But the first toy I ever remember holding in my hand was I had to have been 3, man. I was digging his head into some deodorant. It was like an Ecor from He-Man. Ain't that the little ghost guy? Ain't that his name? Ecor or something? Orko, yeah. I was digging his head into some deodorant, and actually G.I. Joe's.
You were digging his head into deodorant?
Yeah, you know, doing shit that a 3-year-old do. You know, like just I don't know why I remember that, but I do.
All right. I thought you meant like you knew what you were doing. You just have a memory of being a kid. All right.
Yeah, because the deodorant was white. So that's why I think I remember it. You know, that, you know, in the 80s, I believe shit, they didn't have the clear deodorant. All the deodorant was white bar.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was just digging his head in there, and I think I just remember the smell of the deodorant. But that's it. That's all I remember. But I remember my older brother had Beachhead and fucking around with them Joes, man. That's what I told you. So I'm born in 83, so 87, 88, 89, I'm 4, 5, maybe going into 6. So those are my first memories of messing around the GI Joes, and then I went into Turtles around 90, 91.
Okay. So everyone, if you had on your bingo board digging Orko into deodorant, then you win, because I didn't think we'd be talking about that today. I always love the things that kind of pop up in these conversations where it's like, didn't see that one coming.
Sporadic memory, man. Be honest with you, I'm 41 years old and still remember that to this day. Why? I don't know. But I was very young, very, very young.
I think we all have those. I can remember, like, my parents, we lived in a house that actually my ex and I, she actually went to school. Like, it was a school there now. It's a college. And when our first place that we lived was in apartments right down the street. And I have vivid memories of that house. And we only lived there till I was maybe 3 or 4. But I can remember the slide across the street. I can remember the puppy that we had. But I don't have memories. I just have, like, those visions and those. I have memories, but I don't have, like, a memory of what it was. So I think we all have stuff like that. But that is awesome that you remember digging Orko into deodorant, and whoever deodorant was probably pissed because
man, because none of my older brothers were big enough to wear deodorant, man. Probably, I don't know, man. Maybe my cousin, something, maybe he was staying with us at the time. But yeah, I fucked it up because Orko has like that cone head. So I was just digging his head into it, man.
It's funny that you bring that up because when I had Johnny Reno on a couple weeks ago, he was talking about Orko and how I think he was like the only Master of the Universe figure he had, or it's his favorite figure. And he goes, I still have it in the package. And he sent me a picture because he found it a few days ago, still on card, the original Orko. And he's like, look, I found it. It's still sitting right here. So he had all these figures because his parents were collectors, and they would buy one to keep in the box and one to open. And it's just funny that you bring up Orko. Yeah. All right. So G.I. Joe, you said G.I. Joe. Now, was that like your real love? Because you brought up Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
So what was like the big toys that you gravitated to that's like, this was my be all end all? Or did you have like multiple ones and you just kind of mixed and matched with them?
They passed the baton. Joe's passed the baton to Turtles. Turtles passed the baton to X-Men. Okay. And that's pretty much that's my big 3 for my childhood, because after X-Men, that's like 96, 97 shit, I still brought comic books, when I was like a preteen and a teenager. But the toys were over with. So the baton got passed. Like Joe's probably went to 90, 91, Turtles 90, 91 for sure, 92, 93. And then when 93 came, that I was just all about X-Men. Because of that cartoon, man. Be honest with you. Turn to reading comic books.
That everyone right now is probably singing that song in their head. They're humming it. I love that cartoon. That and Batman. Just
Batman the Animated Series. That was my shit. Hey, I had those too. I like that. I had that line too. That Kenner line. I collected that too. So Batman's my guy.
So you went from G.I. Joe, Turtles. Now, do you still collect Turtle stuff?
Yes, man, because when I started out collecting back in 2016, I was like, well, I'm just get some Marvel Legends X-Men stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I love Turtles, but I ain't fucking with it. I can't do it. And then lo and behold, now I have kind of every iteration of Turtles, from NECA to Super 7 to the Playmates. So yes, I do have Turtles. Not as big. My biggest collection is G.I. Joe, to be quite honest with you. But I have a hefty Turtle collection, but it's sporadic, to be honest with you.
And I always say I'm so glad I don't collect Turtles or Transformers, because there are so many fucking lines from different companies. I said I'm pretty sure that every single time any new company automatically gets a Turtle line. Here you go. You automatically get the turtle license. Go do what you want. There's so many. It's crazy.
Yeah, they definitely pimp that line out. They holding that line out bad. But to be honest with you, for the most part, everybody who gets it actually does a pretty good job with it. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super 7 to NECA to even BX ST. They do. I haven't brought any of those because there's a limit. I'm like, all right. I'm Super 7 or NECA. That's what I'm doing. Even the Playmates, but I'm like, I just can't jump to, like how you said, this other line. But they look good though. To be honest with you, all of them.
Yeah, and so you went from Turtles to X-Men. Now, are you still collecting Marvel Legends? Are you big into Marvel Legends, or is it more of a picking thing?
Yes, that's been my year. G.I. Joe and Marvel Legends. I like it. My collection has got simplified this year because G.I. Joe, of course, is doing good, but Marvel Legends, they got back on their shit and got it back going, man, with good, decent figures for $25. Like, because in the years before, I was buying Mayfax and Mezco, which I don't do a lot of them, but they almost forced me to go buy Mayfax. Well, even with some line, because I really don't. I have a little bit of McFarlane, but like with Batmans and Supermans, you can't make a better one than Mayfax. But even some of the Marvel characters, Marvel Legends really wasn't hitting on too much, so you had to jump over and go to those lines. But this year, like that new Wolverine that just came out, like I ain't even tripping over the Mayfax Wolverine no more. Like I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
I heard people say that between the Deadpool and that Wolverine Legends that came out. People are like, I can buy this for $25 or go ahead and spend $80 on the Mafex. Todd C says, hard to say no to Legends right now. Tony's Figs and I were talking about it today. They have been killing it. And I do believe that, hey, you know what? In Hasbro, they talk. Like, they're friends. There is no way that Dwight and all them aren't talking to, they're not, there's no way they're not seeing what's going on with the G.I. Joe brand. They're not talking, they're talking to Lenny, and it's just like, your brand is killing it. And we have to stop. The past couple years, it has really felt like Marvel Legends has kind of sat back, sat on their laurels. Again, G.I. Joe does a lot of repaints, no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. But their repaints are usually good. Where a lot of the Marvel Legends were just awful. They were just there. But now, man, they've come out with better head sculpts, better articulation, picking better characters. And again, you're going to get 1,000 Wolverines. You're not getting away from it. All right. It's like Snake Eyes, except even more popular. Just Correct. If you don't like one, you don't have to buy all of them. It's crazy. It's like YouTube. You don't have to watch every YouTuber. You don't have to watch every toy tuber. You just have to watch us. And then you pick everyone else.
No doubt, no doubt, man. But yeah, man, that's the thing with G.I. Joe is they do a lot of repaints because that's really that's a major part of the line. That's a quarter of the line, really, is repaints. But they get away, not necessarily get away with it. You're still getting a good figure, and that's what it is. When it comes down to the buck, you strip off all the paint off of it. The buck is good. Marvel Legends might have a shitty buck and repainting it several times over and over in the past. Like you see, they step their bucks up, they step their articulation up, they face sculpts up. Okay, now we're working with something here. So that's what their problem was. They had to update and even G.I. Joe, like their first bucks out the classified line were a lot slimmer, but they were still good. But they updated their bucks and even better. They're bigger, they're better, but like I said, it all comes down to that buck, what it's sitting on, to be honest with you.
So Machine Man says, do you think Disney lowered the licensing fee for Marvel and now you get more? No. Disney or Star Wars and Marvel, they have Hasbro bent over a barrel. Hasbro does not want them taking either one of those and going to McFarlane or anywhere else. They have the master license. There's a reason why, especially during COVID and coming out of COVID, the reason why G.I. Joe got pushed on the back burner, it is because it is their property. It is their line. So I've said this before. If you work for a good company, the owner is always going to be the last person to get paid. He should not be the first one. So since Hasbro owns G.I. Joe, hey, if they've agreed and said, hey, all right, you guys have a movie coming out, we got to have these figures out, G.I. Joe's getting pushed back. Mm-hmm. I think what happened was they just saw what they're doing and they're like, we have to future-proof these figures, design better figures, and you're still not getting a lot of accessories.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're getting a good buck, people will overlook that to an extent, you know. But yeah, no, Hasbro's about making money, and so is Disney. But Hasbro is scared to lose that master license, and I don't blame them. I mean, Star Wars and Marvel are so much bigger than G.I. Joe.
Yeah, they are.
They're pretty much bigger than, toy-wise, probably bigger than any of their property, toy-wise, other than Transformers.
Yep. Yeah. Because I would say that as far as, and it's almost kind of like an unfair battle because G.I. Joe, the physical property of this line right now is better than all of them. But as far as priority and far as fan base wise and what makes money bring in, Star Wars will kick G.I. Joe around the planet 3 times over. You know what I'm saying? Because it just brings in that money. And G.I. Joe media is not bringing in nothing at all. We're just talking about a toy line here. So it's big. It gets bigger than the toys, to be honest with you. And be honest with you, if you're a logical person, you can sit back and understand that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so
you just said something. If you're a logical person. So many people are not logical. And it's infuriating. It's just like, this is a business. And also when people try and make it seem like Hasbro's making all this money off these action figures. No. They make money off their board games and their preschool toys. These are adult collectibles. And sure, we're buying a lot of stuff, but their bread and butter is still, toys. No, it's for kids. Board games, all that stuff that they have. So, and then let's hear quickly.
Welcome to the Creamery.
Wraith Maze has gifted 1 Punk membership. Thank you very much. And Andrew Davis got that. And Andrew Davis, I don't think I've ever seen you make a comment here. So say hi. All right. So as you start to get older, and we'll be back and forth in toys. As you start to get older, become that teenager, did you continue to collect toys? I know you mentioned that you got into comics, and I noticed a lot of people go from collecting toys to collecting comics because that in-between age where you don't want people to know that you collect toys or play with toys. I don't think any of us were collecting toys as kids. We were playing with toys. But you can get away with it with comics because you're reading. Also, they're easier to hide. Did you still continue to collect toys, or did you just kind of like push away and find other things?
Well, those toy years from when I was a kid did fizzle out. And be honest with you, like that X-Men cartoon birthed me into comic books. So I was like reading comics, and when I was like 8 or 9 years old, well, maybe 9 or 10 years old, and I just kind of kept that going. But the toys, they did fizzle out. But something crazy had happened. I didn't know what was going on. Like when I turned 19, because I was out of high school, but I was still like a teenager. It was just kind of like that in between time between teenager and then I'm about to be an adult. I remember going to Walmart and buying maybe like $100 worth of Marvel Legends. I got a Mr. Fantastic, Colossus. This was around that time, 03, 04.
$100 back then. That's
yes, and it scared me. Yeah, it scared me. It scared me, man. It scared me. I'm like, well, I said, what am I doing here? I said, what's going on? I said, why did I do this? But did not knowing, like, henceforth, like, 20 years later in the future, here we are. But I brought a bunch because I was like, man, these are dope. I'm like, wow, they don't move like the Toy Biz ones from the 90s, which is pretty much probably 5 POA, 6 POA, whatever.
Yeah, just maybe a few other points of articulation, but
but these moved, and looking back at them now, you're like, Jesus, those things were horrendous. But they moved at that time period like something you never seen before, and that's what made me kept going back. I was like, let me buy one, just mess around, because they were like $6 or $7 then. So let me buy one. But man, yeah, by the time the day ended, man, I found myself hunting. I found myself going to different Walmarts in 2003, you know, and doing that. And so I had a big group of maybe like 15 of them sitting up there. And for a couple of months, me and my brother every day would switch up a scene. So I'm posing up figures before, you know, I even know the phrase of posing up figures. But I end up giving those to my nephews. And those hung around for a long time to like 2010 and 2011. So yeah, I had little bugs here and there, but I just don't think at a younger age I was in a position to really collect like that because I was doing a lot of moving around. I was moving around the country. I was just, you know, just doing, you know, just being young. So I didn't really have time to sit down and collect some toys. But the love was always there. And then, you know, after a while, the comic books kind of fell off. You know, like my serious collecting came back in 2015, and that's when I started going to Second Charles, started buying comic books again, and kind of flirted with the Marvel Legends, but didn't really pull the trigger because I couldn't believe they went from $7 to $20. I'm like, oh hell no. Eventually I caved in, man, and when I caved, boy, did I caved.
That's why you need a YouTube channel so it can help support your habit. But you're not monetized. You're not, and we're going to talk about that because I think Aaron was the one that told me that you're not monetized or anything like that. You're not the only one that I know. But I'm not. We'll talk about that in a little bit because I find it very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so in high school, like what did you do? Did you find sports, toys, sports, music, anything like that you gravitated to that occupied your time?
Yeah, really all of them, man. To be honest with you, like I ran track ever since I was a kid. That was like one of the best things my mom could ever do. Then that's what I'm looking forward to the Olympics. I want to catch them races because they got some people that's smoking out there. But I ran track all through my life, and in high school. Because matter of fact, I just went to a barbecue with my brother this past weekend, the one that's 4 years older than me. So when he was a senior in high school, I was a freshman. So we ran track together, and we got a gold medal in the state in the 4x4. We were both specialists. I was a 400 runner. He was an 800 runner. But we would kill all through high school. And the crazy thing about it, I was talking with his son now, who's like 16, 17. Like my brother, he was like a workaholic, far as like working out, like always running. Me, I didn't do none of that shit. When track season came, because I knew how to run, I had a lot of heart, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I knew how to run, and when it was time to go, it was time to go. I'll probably get ready like a month before season, while my brother, he's like jogging around the neighborhood all fucking year and shit. You know what I'm saying? But I played football too. I like football, but I didn't love it because I just stayed hurt, twisted ankles. My 10th grade year, I snapped my wrist in half. Like my wrist was on top of my fucking arm. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't feel that shit when it happens either. It's crazy because I was a wide receiver and the quarterback threw the damn ball too short, so the DB caught it. So now I got to turn around and go tackle him, and when I tackled him, all of our weight went on my arm. So it's just like wow. So I think I messed around a little bit, 11th grade year, but I was like, you know what? I don't love this shit like that. I like it, but you know. I had my glory years in football in my younger, like elementary school. Like my cousin coached me, and we won city championship. That's how I met a lot of my homeboys, my friends, growing up from playing football when I was like 10 or 11. And some of them guys I still talk to this day. Still some of my good partners, man. But in high school, it really just kind of finessed all the way down the track, and I messed around with music a little bit. Used to love rap, make beats and stuff like that. And be honest with you, when I go into my program, the Movavi, it reminds me of the studio programs I used to deal with the wave patterns and things like that. So once I started messing around with them, I'm like, okay, this is just like Magic's audio. This is just like Fruity Loops. You know what I'm saying? I'm cutting the wave patterns, trying to fit stuff in. I got my samples here. I'm splicing those in. So it's actually just like that.
All right, hold 1 second here.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
And Cressio Crow with a $6.99 super chat. Great to see the Savage Land again. Replay day, Tom, for sure. I gotta head out. Well, great to see you here, Krusty.
Hey, what's up, man?
He is grumpy.
I met Crow. I kicked it with Crow. He cool. He cool as a fan with me.
Oh, he's so cool. He saved Dave's life. He saved Daredevil Dave's life while Aaron was trying to sell him Powerade. Well, we were at Aaron's house before Joe Fest, the day before. Daredevil Dave passed out. Krusty and I were talking. He jumps into like his military mode, asking him questions. Hey, how you feeling? He just faded, right? He just hadn't eaten, whatever. Aaron grabs a Powerade. All right. Now, there's nothing wrong with, hey, you know what? Get some fluids in you. He grabs his Powerade, and Aaron goes, here. It just happened to me. It happened to me in jiu-jitsu. Here. Take some Powerade. It has electrolytes. It was a fucking commercial. I mean, it should have been a commercial for Powerade. I'm dying. I'm like, this guy is like dying here. As the story goes on, you know, Daredevil Dave was like dead for 10 minutes. He was foaming at the mouth, and these electrolytes saved his life. But
you don't have diabetes, do
you? You know, I think they had just driven so far, and it hit him. But just, oh my God, Aaron was a total salesman. It was amazing. No, Crow's awesome. I really enjoyed Krusty. It wasn't Old Crow. It's Krusty Old Crow, or Krusty Crow. Is that what I think Travis kept calling him? Krusty Crow. I'm like, it's Krusty Old Crow. Like, all right. So you ran track, played football to your poor wrist got collapsed on itself. That sounds awful.
It was.
So you graduate high school, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
Okay. I made the mistake with Aaron. He's like, I've never graduated. I'm like, God damn it.
Aaron, I didn't know Aaron was a gangster. That's what's up.
Yeah, he did not graduate. Sorry, but I guess you go rewatch the show. It's not like a secret. So what did you do after you graduated?
Man, I tried to go to college, man. And when I say I tried to go to college, I went to a D1 college. I went to North Carolina A&T, and a teacher of mine, a guy named Mr. Farabee, God bless the dead, good guy. He was my architecture teacher, graphic design, computer graphic design. And I told you I was kind of like Ferris Bueller in high school and shit. You know what I'm saying? He could see there's two type of people. There's real, I guess it's book smart and it's street smart. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And when I say street smart, like I know how to work my way around things. You know what I'm saying? And book smart is like, oh, I got to do this and do that, and you know, ain't got no common sense. So he seen that into me. He was like, Henley, you're not ready for college, and I took that as an insult. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like, not necessarily like Michael Jordan, but somebody tell me I can't do something. You know, I'm gonna try my all to do it. So I jumped, went to college. And he was right. I wasn't ready for college because the work wasn't anything. I just didn't go to class. Damn it.
I was waiting to see if you're going to acknowledge it or not.
Damn it. I hit it with the elbow, man. But y'all can't see him anyway. I had them all set up nice and propped up. Like y'all can't see that shit, man. But yeah, man. So I tried for a year, man. And then I just got to a point like, you know what? Like, I even paid out of my pocket one semester, man. And, you know, what I should have did, I should have went to community college for 2 years and then took myself to North Carolina A&T and got my majors done. I should have just did all my, you know, your essential classes in the 2 years, stayed at home. Cause I basically, I was just being a knucklehead, a halfway knucklehead. That's all, man. It really, coming home from that, and when I came home, I told my brother, like, man, I just don't think I'm going back to school, man. That's just not for me. And my life has been good, you know what I'm saying? I've worked with my hands my entire life. I've done a bunch of different things, and then I worked with my dad for, you know, in and out for long periods of time too, man. So where I'm at now, man, I feel like I have a degree in life.
Oh, my son decided he didn't want, you know, that he's going to community college for, you know, trying to get a 2-year degree. and he wants to go for like video editing and stuff. And I don't think that's something that you really need to go to like a big university for. Like my daughter, she wants to go to University of Michigan. She wants to be a lawyer. I don't want my lawyer coming out of my community college. No offense to community college. That's where I tried to go and dropped out and ended up where I usually don't drop out. You just stop going. But I don't want those. I mean, I don't. If you're a lawyer, I want you at a good school. But I think for like electronics and different things like that, like you're going to be working with your hands. So, and I don't think everyone needs to go to college. I mean, but I think you need to have. Well, you should have an idea. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I got lucky to fall into what I do today. But I'm also very mechanically inclined. So when I started fixing things, it was real easy. I just that's the thing that I told my son. It's like you just need to know. You have to have something that you want to do. I mean, if you wanted to be a mechanic, that's fine. You want to be a welder, that's fine. But you do need some sort of path of what you're going to go to.
College these days, just seeing it is oversaturated. I think as far as in America, we need to get back to the ethics of more trade, because that's never going to ever stop. You know what I'm saying? Like my trade really has brought me through life, because I'm a block mason, by trade, concrete mason. But I've done other things, man. But just to have that's never gonna ever go away. I don't care how digital the world gets, you still have to live in a physical house, or you still have to walk on a physical street. I mean, yeah, you can sit with that fucking machine on your head and be somewhere in a digital land, but in all actuality, you sitting on hard ground here. So I think trade needs to be more put out there. And college is fine, but there's a lot of people going to college for minimalistic shit, and I'm making just as much money as them.
Yeah. Hustle SM says Mike and Lawrence basically Roadblock and Gung Ho having a great combo. What's up, fellas? Well, because I didn't get to meet Michael here. I don't know how tall he is. I can tell you that I do not fit the height requirements to be Gung Ho.
And I don't fit the height requirements to be Roadblock either. I'm 5'9", 185 pounds, soaking wet.
Well, I'm 5'4" on a good day. About 183 pounds now. I've dropped weight, thank God.
I see you. I see you. You're a little wild, a little something.
Yeah, but hey, I would take it, because Gung Ho was always one of my favorite figures.
No doubt. Roadblock, my man too. Roadblock is a legend. To be quite honest with you, and Gung Ho, both of them.
They were always the big muscular guys.
Correct. But yeah, I've never been a 6-footer in my entire life. I like to laugh and play a little joke, like because my stepmom. I shouldn't even say that. My mom, because she's been in my life all my life just as much as my real mom. But she's kind of a tall woman. She's like, she has to be 5'8", but she always says she's taller than me. I'm like, you're not taller than me, man. I'm 5'10", 5'11". I used to always say that, try to play as close to 6 foot as I could, man. But no, man, I'm 5'9". Look, I'm on the down slope of life. I'm not going to get any taller. If anything, I'm going to shrink.
I think I told the story recently. My aunt used to always say, and I never forget, I was like 20 or 21. And she goes, your cousin Greg, he had a growth spurt when he got older, when he started getting a little bit older. So, it still might happen. And I went, Aunt Marie, I'm 21 years old. Mom was 5'2", Dad's 5'4". The growth spurt's come and gone. This is the height that I am. I mean, I don't care. Like, I've never understood people that lie about their height, because you can't change it. There's no hiding who I am. All right. Now,
exactly.
If I had as much money as Tom Cruise, then sure, you can tell people that you're 5'9" all you want, because everyone would be like, all right, well, the guy's a billionaire, so that's fine. He can be whatever height he wants. He wants to be 7 foot, let him. All right.
No doubt. I heard that he's quite small, but when they portray him, he's always a big guy. Well, not a big guy. He's a 6-footer. But
yeah, he'll wear lifts and different things like that. I could care less. You know, dude, I'm sorry, I couldn't care less. I could care less, and I would care less. I couldn't care less. Like again, it's who I am. Like it's not change. You can change if you're skinny or if you're fat, if you're muscular or you know or you're like you can change that. I can't change my height. Like that's who I am. And
it's the way it should be, man. Look, I wouldn't change anything ever about myself, man. Be honest with you, because God gave me that, and that's what I've been working with. And you know, I'm good. I'm good. Whatever situation or whatever's going on. But at the end of the day, I've always been a good looking motherfucker. So you know, he blessed me in that department at least.
I used to have people ask me, and I used to have people ask me like, "Don't you wish you were taller?" And I go, "Well, I can't answer that because I've never been taller. I can ask you, don't you wish you were shorter? Because at one time you were shorter than what you are now. But I don't know what it's like to reach the top of the cabinets, and I never will."
People are just assholes, yo. Because be honest with you, like I'm not a short guy, but I'm you know what I'm saying I'm not 6 foot. I'm 5'9".
Yeah.
I think I was in college one time and I was coming through the door and this girl was in. I don't know whose girl this was, who she was for, but she was like, "I thought you would be taller." I'm like, "Damn, what the fuck? I look like Dalton or somebody from Roadhouse or something."
I love it.
What the fuck? Like, I was like, you don't even know me. Like, but you know, sometimes people say shit because they just don't know what to say. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, I fully get that. I love it though. If people have all you know, they've mentioned to me, they're like, "Why do you talk about your height?" I'm like, it's just a talking point, you know. Well, if you don't tell people, I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. It's just a talking point. But let me explain something to you. If you see me, it's not something I can hide. But I will say this: people have said this to me. They're like, "You're not as short as you say you are." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you for telling me how short I am." "No, you're taller than that." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm just wider." So, especially back when I was younger, I'm wider. So people tend not to, you know, think that I'm that short. Also, I've learned when you have 6'2" friends, you don't stand right next to them and talk like this. You stand away, so you're not looking as much up to them. But it really became apparent, and I'll never forget. We were at a skate park. Oh man, this was so many years ago, probably almost 30 years ago. And you had to wear a helmet then. It wasn't how the skate parks are today, where they're in every city. And my buddy was like, he goes, "Dude, I know you're short. I didn't realize how short. I was trying to find you, and since we're all wearing helmets, you just fit in with all the sea of kids." Like my other friends are standing up because you know they're 6 feet tall, you know, 6'2", 6'3". And he's like, "I'm looking for you, and I can't find you because you fit in with the rest of the kids." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
hey, look, man, look, you know, you seem like you're comfortable in your skin, and that's the biggest point. And be honest with you, people admire somebody who's definitely comfortable in their skin, definitely can accept themselves, and that is bigger than any height really you could be ever be. Because I've known guys who short.
Let's not
I've known
get
guys who are
crazy, all
ugly.
right? Let's not get crazy, all right? You don't feel comfortable when you're seeing it. You're not comfortable when you're skinny and you get taller, all right?
Mhm.
Or else I use that with girls.
Man, to be honest, well, basically, like I've seen all different types of people, man. People that are ugly as shit, you know what I'm saying? People that are short, fat as fuck, you know what I'm saying? Or hey, sometimes people are embarrassed that they're too fucking tall. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
crazy.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I've seen
that's
that before
crazy.
too.
Quickly here, the Profit Director has joined the members, so thank you very much. And
welcome to the Creamery.
You have joined the Creamery. Oh, what?
That shit sounds like something from one of them sites or something.
It's actually my daughter is saying it.
oh shit. Yeah, my bad.
The Creamery came from during a live stream. Someone came in. It turns out we believe it was Viper Island. I believe it was Viper Island. He came in Toy Crustacean and started saying how it's gross and sick how YouTubers have monetized YouTubers can have channel members and accept super chats and different things like that. And luckily, like, everyone kind of stuck up, but not me, but through Allison, Troy, and a few other people, they were like, "Oh yeah, this is the creamery because you're just milking us." So as I started working on these, like, I was trying to get like sound bites. I Googled trying to find like a sound bite of like "Welcome to the Creamery," and there's nothing. I was like, "Oh, hold on." So I called my daughter. I'm like, "Hey, send me a voice note that says "Welcome to the Creamery." But I know what you're saying. But
yeah, I didn't know, man. That shit, it sounded very productive.
Don't worry, it's all part of fun. All right, so when you decided not to go back to college, what did you end up doing? Did you just go
I pretty much came back home and worked with my dad, man. Just a large part of my 20s is working with him, trying to help him out with his business, and just working in the concrete field. My dad has his own concrete company, so I just came back home and worked with him, which I was natural doing. And then I from that I kind of spliced into doing different things. Like at one time, for a good little bit, I think after like 5 years, I got into low voltage, like cable, satellite, things of that nature.
Oh,
and
I know that stuff.
Yeah, man, I was contracted, man. It was some good money around that time. I think I stopped working with my dad like 24, and brought me a little truck, and got in on that contracting. But I kind of came in on the ass end of that. A lot of guys was getting a lot of that good money in the early 2000s. So by the time 2008, 9 or 7 was around, it was starting to kind of fade out. But I was still making some good money around that time. But I just kind of went from that and transitioned to other things, man, to be honest with you.
So you said you were married. Like, when you started dating, how long have you, like, when did you start dating your current wife?
I actually know my wife for a long time, man, to be honest with you. But we seriously started dating in like 2016. But I've known her ever since like 2007, 2006.
Okay.
Around that time. But seriously started dating like 2016. And when we first got together, we were talking, but just me being me, because I stayed single for a long time, and I would have, not even a main girlfriend, but I have something, little something I was messing with, you know what I'm saying? But I kept myself available and open. And not available and open just to have women, but available, open, do whatever the fuck I want to do. You know what I'm saying? I lived a long time just doing whatever I want to do till when I got with my wife and got married. I'm like, this is where I want to be. I don't want to be alone some nights. Or I don't want to be like, trying to bag something, to pull something, trying to pull this one right here. So, yeah. So about 2017. Yeah. Like I said, we talked for a couple of months, and then I stopped talking to her, just being the asshole I was. 9 months later, came back, and I was like, you know what? I fucked up. I was like, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to be.
When you came back 9 months later, there wasn't a little savage running around, was there?
Nah, man, no, nah. Be honest with you, man. Man, I didn't. Me and my wife is 2 years older than me, and she didn't have any kids. I didn't have any kids, and we had our first kid when I was 36. So, and had my second.
You're pushing it.
Yeah, we pushed it all right.
So how many kids do you have? Just the one, or?
No, I got 2 girls, 2 daughters. They're young, 5 and 3.
Man, you are glutton for punishment.
I'm already getting punished.
I tell everyone, I'm like, kids are for young people. Not because we can't do it, but when you're in your 40s and your body starts breaking down, and it does. If you're not in your 40s yet, you hit 40 and it's like, man, my knee hurts. I don't remember that. Kids don't care. You come home from work and they want to jump on you, and they don't care. Yeah. And if you're a decent parent, you're gonna play around with them. You're gonna be on your knees, roughhousing, and then at the end of the day, you're like, I can't do this every day.
Yeah, but you know what, man? My body, because I physically work just just in construction all my life. My body is good. I feel good. I just be fucking tired, yo. Like I'm like that's the part that's hit me. Like I like if I take a nap in the middle of the day, I'm cool with that. Which back in the day, like a nap, like motherfucker, we ain't going to sleep for days. But just the tired, man. That I wish I still had a little bit more youthful energy. But as far as how I feel, I feel good. I feel good, to be quite honest with you.
That's because you just turned 41. So I hate naps. Like I feel so groggy, but I have come to on Mondays and now on Thursdays, I pretty much have to take a nap. But I think as I wake up and I take it right before. Once this thing goes live, I'm like a different person. Like, and not that I act different, but I'm wide awake. I'm ready to go. But let's say if it was like a Saturday or a Sunday and I crash at like, I don't know, 1 o'clock and you wake up at like 2:30, I am so groggy and I'm just regretting that I even felt, dozed off, because I'd rather just stay up. But, every now and then it catches you and you're like, oh boy, this is rough. But for Mondays and Thursdays, I have become that guy that's like, I need my nap. I took a half-hour nap before this show. That's why I always tell everyone, I'm like, all right, I'll send it over about 8 o'clock, and I'll be back at 8:30. So I usually sleep till about 8:05. I'll jump on, send the link. So if anyone has any issues, they can hit me back, and then hopefully they get a little bit early. Make sure sound is good, video is good, and everything. So
yeah, you gotta get that nap in, man. You better get that nap in because, like I said, man, like when I started taking naps probably when I was about like 37, 38, man. I just gotta have it. Then a thing has changed in my life. I go to bed early, like I will pass out at 9 o'clock, 9:30, like I'm 8 years old or 7 again, and be sleeping until the next morning, man. So
action figs. Ed, my moderator, sleep is overrated. I'm gonna have more than enough time to sleep when I die. But I will say this: when I go like long periods where I'm not sleeping, because after a stream, I'm up to like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm wide awake. It's like I worked out. All right. If I work out at night, I'm wide. There are people that work out and they go right home and crash. My body's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, your blood
but there'll be times where I'm running off 4 hours of sleep for 7, 8, 9 days. And then next thing I know, boom, 9 o'clock, I am out. And then I wake up the next morning. Or I think the last time it happened, I was getting called out on a toy kind of mood. And Matthew's like, they're calling you out wondering where the hell you're at. And I just happened to wake up. And then my dumbass was up for 2 hours because now I woke up rather than just like, all right, well, I'll discuss it with them tomorrow. All right, so you have 2 little girls. The girls are awesome. I'm just gonna say that. The girls are absolutely awesome. My daughter, she will hang out with me even at 15. Like we're watching Suits right now because she wants to be a lawyer. So she saw Suits, and so it was like 9 seasons, and we're already into season 4. So
I think I've heard that before, but I've never watched it.
It's an interesting show. It's it's not like the big drama. It's a drama, but not like one of the super intense dramas. I think it was a USA TV show. So, when did you get back into toy collecting? Was it before or after you met your wife?
Kind of around the same time.
Okay.
Kind of around the same time when we started dating, seriously, like 2015, 16, because I would like say it'd be a Sunday afternoon, and I would take her to Second and Charles with me because I would go comic book hunting there, trying to find back issues and things like that, man. That Second and Charles, man, I would say if anybody has one in town and go to it, I found some really nice issues of backlog comic books in there for $1. Like I found Excalibur #1 in there for like $1 and shit. Pristine condition, man. Yeah. So
anytime I found anything there, and I've never looked for comics, but like toy wise, they are overpriced like crazy.
Yeah. Be honest with you, man. I've never when I first was collecting back in those 2016, 17 days, I would buy stuff from there every now and then. But I could see like sometimes that stuff would be overpriced, but then sometimes they would have they would sell like figures that maybe didn't have a builder figure part, so you could get a good deal. Like, okay, I just want this figure. It doesn't have a builder, so they would do stuff like that, man. But that's where I first started seeing those Marvel Legends, and it was the what's my man? He's part of the Phalanx breed covenant. But man, I can't think of his name. He's like a cyborg, like a computer generated shit. Damn, I can't think of his name. But
I'm sure
Rogue,
someone will let us know.
yeah, Rogue was it was that wave with Rogue. And I seen she was $20, and it had Cyclops. This Cyclops right here, not this one, but you know that Jim Lee Cyclops that everybody wanted for a long time. It was that wave, and I didn't get in on that wave because I was like, man, $20, man, I can't do that. But about a couple of months later, yeah, a couple of months later, man, I brought Black Bolt, that first Black Bolt.
Warlock?
And,
is it Warlock?
You talking about the builder figure?
Yeah, Viper Scout. The one you were just talking
about.
Yeah.
That Rogue wave. Yeah, that's his name, Warlock. He's like he's like the same thing as the Phalanx and shit. So he's like a computer virus or some shit, something crazy like that, man. But I brought Black Bolt, and that Black Bolt really pretty much put me into modern Marvel Legends. I had the same feeling with that I had with the Marvel Legends in 03. And from there, I went insane. It was on. That Black Bolt went from that figure to 20 figures. Oh, now I got 100 figures standing up here. And just, it just grew and grew, man.
So this is something I've always found interesting because I am single. And I've been single since my ex and I split up, which is 8.5 years ago. So I don't have to justify anything. And I know people say like you shouldn't have to justify what you buy, but when you're in a relationship, when you're in a partnership, you have to justify what you're buying. I mean, there are things that are more important than toys. I can't believe I just said that, but it is true. How is your wife supportive with you doing that, or is she not supportive?
She is supportive. To be honest with you, it's not a big issue in my household. I guess because my wife knows me, she seems how I operate.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I take care of all of us from the rooter to the tutor. So she knows she knows she's with a man in good hands as far as taking care of us. But it's not. She might say her little shit, just joking. But it's definitely not an issue. Like if you buy another one of those figures, like I'm gonna leave. Like if it was even like that at all from the beginning, I know me. Well, I was like, well, shit, leave then. You know what I'm saying?
Door. I'm not stopping you.
But no, it's not a big issue in my home, man. She knows it's my place of peace. To be quite honest with you,
and there's nothing wrong with, especially loved ones or friends that take little shots at you, right? I don't have a problem if friends of mine take little shots of me collecting toys or that I'm still riding my skateboard. You know which ones are making it. They're saying it in jest, they're joking around. I don't have a problem with that. I think some people get too overly upset about like, she would never say anything like that. Well, believe me, they're thinking it. Believe me, they're thinking and looking at you going, really another action figure? All the toys that you could get that we could have fun with?
Be honest with you, man. I don't even get that from my friends or my family members who don't collect. I be putting them onto game. You know what I'm saying? They be like, damn, that shit dope. Be like, damn. Like my homeboy, one of my homeboys, my homeboy Pat, I met when I was playing football when I was like 10 or 11. Like one of my friends, I told you I met a core group of my friends like from my whole life. He had just watched my Cobra Convergence video. He was like, man, things like that shit was so good, man. He's like, what's the dude name? He's like, with the eye patch. I hadn't heard that name in a long time. I was like, Major Blood. He was like, hell yeah. So just stuff like that. That's mostly what I get from just family members or friends who, for the most part, nobody's into collecting. That's why I'm on YouTube, because I thought I was the only person in the world, to be quite honest with you. Not in the world, but I just thought it was few, far and in between. But you gravitate towards this because not a lot of people do it. So most other people I come across, they pretty much not necessarily get turned out, but they get turned on to some shit, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, and I've had a lot of people ask me like, hey, how much is that worth? And it's like, it's worth what someone will pay.
That's the outside thing. Just people just thinking it's all about exchange of figures and money, and that stuff goes on. But you got to understand, like, this isn't Superman Action Comics #1 here. Everybody thinks when it comes to collecting, you're gonna have a huge turnover like that. No, it's not. You'd be lucky you can get your money back, to be quite honest with you. And that's a good thing. If you do, shit, you can invest it in something else. But just outside thinkers, that classic phrase, man, you need to save that. That could be worth something. This ain't worth a fucking thing but me opening it. That's what it's worth, to be quite honest with you.
So, Profit Director, I love this. I don't see how collecting toys is any different from collecting sneakers or hats or cards. It's all stuff you don't need but enjoy. And I said this before, because people will look at me and they're like, you still skateboard? Don't you think that's a little dangerous? But you wouldn't say that to someone that plays hockey in their mid-40s, right? You don't say that to someone that plays basketball. You can still get hurt on all of those. And it's like, all right, well, first off, skateboarding to me, it's second nature, right? It's no different. But I'm also not doing big handrails anymore. I'm not skating big ramps. It may be dangerous to you, but to me, trying to skate around and play hockey is dangerous. So I feel the same way about like that. But absolutely, the whole, like, no one says anything about you collecting video games or collecting sports cards or sneakers, which I think is crazy because I can't wear every sneaker, or tennis shoes.
But yeah, to be honest with you, a lot of these things are connected. You don't know. You'd be surprised how many sneakerheads actually do would like to collect action figures. To be quite honest, with you, all this stuff kind of goes like hand in. If you're a collector, you're kind of like a collector. Now you have your limits and boundaries, but you're not opposed to other people collecting. Be quite honest with you.
I think that if you're a collector, you're gonna find something to collect. And it doesn't matter what it is. If it's spoons, you're going to collect spoons. If it's action figures, if it's cards, tennis shoes or sneakers or whatever you want to call them. I realized, and I've said this before, I would collect everyone's old skateboard when we were younger, and I'd hang them on my wall. They weren't all my skateboards, and they all weren't in good shape. And I look back, and I was like, I was a collector then and didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And I always say collectors shouldn't have kids because you will become obsessed with getting a whole complete collection for your kids when they don't care. I don't need that figure. No, you do, because that's the only one you don't have. I don't really want that one. Oh, yes. Let's go.
My daughter, they want all the figures I got. Like I tried to buy them like try to make use of Ollie's, because I'm like, okay, they like these little articulated figures that I got. So let me get this Yellow Ranger at Ollie's for $5 and grab some other bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Just so they can mess around with it, because I know how they gonna go. They gonna have a foot by ear and all types of shit. So I try to do that, but they mess around with that thing, man, for a couple hours and be done with it. They want the shit that I got in my hand. That's what they want. They want my stuff. But they're at that age where they're like that, though.
I tell my daughter, like, every time I get a new female action figure, I'm like, well, this one's yours. So you don't even have to worry about arguing. She's like, well, what about the rest of them? I'm like, you guys figure that out. I don't care. I'll be dead. You get all the females. What about the other ones? There's more. I don't know. You guys figure that out. I'm dead. I don't give a shit. Just don't get ripped off if you sell it. That's all I ask. All right.
Let me ask you.
I tell them, if you sell the aircraft carrier, just don't get ripped off. Make sure you get the money's worth out of it.
Oh yeah, you definitely need to get your money worth. Now, that's an item right there where, regardless of the fact you're gonna get some money for that, and that's just one of those particular items that's just that's just how it is. But like I said, with other people just thinking everything is going, it's not, man.
Yeah, I don't. If you are collecting, thinking that it's an investment, it is not the '80s anymore. These are not the Star Wars and G.I. Joe figures mint on card.
Mm-hmm.
All those Power of the Force figures, they're worth maybe less than what they were when we bought them back then in '95.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I've never collected, to make a profit. I'm not saying I've never made a profit off stuff that I picked up, but
of course,
I'm not out there actively looking. I'm not the Hot Wheel guy looking for the treasure hunt, which I've still never seen a treasure hunt in real life. I don't know if you know what treasure hunts are. Hot Wheels cars would have a treasure hunt. That's what they were called, treasure hunt. And that's what Hot Wheel guys are crazy. Like, they put all us to shame. They will sit there and they will sit on the floor pulling out every single car, going through looking for whichever one, trying to find a treasure hunt. And I just know because when I would wait, there were a couple Hot Wheel guys back in the 90s, and they'd talk about the treasure hunt. Hey, we're looking for the treasure hunt here. If I see one, I'll let you know. I've still never seen one to this day. I don't even know if they still make them. I think they do. But
wow, yeah, that's almost like a needle in a haystack.
Exactly. And that's why, like, if you notice, like, first thing in the morning, you'll see like Hot Wheel guys sometimes sitting on the floor, like pulling down all the Hot Wheel cars and going through them. They're
crazy.
Yeah, they're nuts. They are in a whole other world. All right. So quickly, Eric Thurman had asked, how many figures do you have?
It's in the thousands, man. I haven't had a count in a long time. I have to straighten up my room. Like, I can't never get it straightened out because I really want to reevaluate all my shelves and do all that, man. But it's in the thousands. Not like, I don't think it's over 2,000, but I do think I'm over 1,000. I'm thinking I'm like probably maybe like 1,300 figures.
You figure if you have every G.I. Joe figure, every classified figure, you're looking at 130 figures right now. Then you think about the Army builders, the 2-packs,
yes,
the retro cars, like right there, you had 150 figures.
I have like 300 G.I. Joe classified figures alone, just because my Cobra Army is almost 200 figures by itself. But I about have all the classified figures. Just this year here, I haven't been on the hard hunt like I have been. There's still a few figures I haven't picked up, but the reason why I haven't, because I already have them really, but I still want to get them, like Retro, Eel, and just a few other guys out there that I haven't got yet. But I'll get around to them. But yes, so that set alone is like 300 something figures. Then I have a bunch of Marvel Legends, a lot of wrestling figures. Have a lot of Ninja Turtle. Huh?
I didn't know you collected wrestling figures.
Yeah. I have a lot of Mattel wrestling. I kind of chilled out on them. Like, this year was really like a chill out year. I told myself this year I'm just going to just deal with G.I. Joe and I'll cherry pick at that when it's time to get them. But Marvel Legends, kind of came up on some shit, so I got a lot of them. But that's all I've been going at. But the Mattels I laid off. I was getting into the Ultimates line, but I kind of laid off of them. I pretty much have every wrestling figure that I want. I just want to get the Steiner Brothers. I think that's a ringside collectible set, like the old with the Michigan jackets on and shit. Like them, they have that Ultimate set coming out from ringside. And actually, I ordered an Ultimate Warrior and Papa Shango. So I have quite a yeah. What was his name?
I watch a lot of the old, like a lot of the wrestling podcasts. Like the Undertaker's been popping up. I really loved Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. I was listening to that like crazy last year because you learned so much stuff.
Yeah. Dark Side of the Ring is good, and I was watching something with Joe Rogan that he interviewed Hulk Hogan. But I like the old wrestlers. I love their stories. That's around the time I was watching wrestling. Like I really kind of started watching wrestling like 01, 02. And I was watching it because my brother watched it a lot. One of my oldest brothers, he loves wrestling. He still watches it to this day. So when I have a question, I'll ask him. But just a lot of that nostalgia from the old guys, man, from the 90s, the late 80s. Because I know down here, like WCW was big. You know, we Southern division, and but WWF was the shit too, man. So, but you know, you have some people that just really kind of know WWF. Like they ain't really fuck with WCW, but down here in North Carolina, like we was on that WCW since the 80s because they toured here. Like we used to see a lot of the Rock and Roll Express and Ric Flair. They would come to small places, small auditoriums, and do the damn thing like they were on TV. So they did a huge bit of promotion when they did that, man. But that's my era though, late 80s all the way up in the 90s. I'm really not even a part of like the Attitude era, like with the Rock and all them. Like that was cool, but I like the old guys, Hogan, Razor Ramon. Not even when he turned to his real name, but Scott Hall. I like Razor Ramon. That's my era right there.
Bad guy.
Yeah, Chico. Yeah, that's my shit. Yeah, that, and you know, just all the old guys like Sting from WCW in the 80s, man. Like, yeah. That's my era.
Yeah, I love that. Especially where you're at. I mean, Atlanta's right there, so
correct.
I mean, that's and it was, you know, at that time, yeah, there was, you know, Turner owned TBS and everything, so it was broadcast. But really, when you look at the WCW for the longest time, it was still a territory where the WWF was worldwide.
Yes,
you know, it's, you know, everywhere. All right, so you're collecting your toys. When did you decide to start a YouTube channel?
Probably like the end of 2019, 2020. Because I'm trying to think, it's almost simultaneously when I discovered, not necessarily discovered YouTube, because YouTube been out since 06, but I'm not really a computer type guy like that. And when my wife, she was like, yeah, you know, she downloaded YouTube app. I'm like, really? You got to watch YouTube on TV? And it's crazy. Now that is my TV, YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like I won't see anything, I'm going to YouTube to watch it. So probably like 2019, 2020, but I didn't get off the ground until like 2021. Okay. And to be honest with you, like I said, like I did an interview of myself. That's my first video I ever put. I encourage anybody who's on my channel, if you watching this, like go back and watch my like 00 video, man, because it just pretty much I tell you everything about me, and I haven't altered or faltered from that. And I wanted to get into stop motion strictly because I really like that. I'm like, man, I want to tell a story. I want to do that, but you know, stop motion takes a lot of time. You know, it takes a lot of just different things to make that go. So I was like, you know what? I said, I see these guys doing reviews. Let me just, you know, try to jump up, do some reviews, or even just talk about figures. Let's just start there, and pretty much work this way all the way up until now. But I will say this: like what you see on the table is kind of the direction I want to go with my channel. Like I still actually like doing reviews, but that's not all I want to do. If you really look at my my channel, like I do it all because I like it all. I love it. Sometimes I sit up and talk. Sometimes I might do news. Sometimes I might do a review or the table where it's really that's real. My passion is posing up figures, trying to tell a story, or just on a creative more on a creative end. And that's why I want to get into where it's action figure media, basically.
No, and that's absolutely awesome because there's a niche for everything when it comes to this. And I know a lot of people will try and emulate what I do because for some odd reason, they enjoy what I do. And I appreciate that. I don't understand it. Or they appreciate, you know, they like what Bobby B does or, you know, whoever. And then there's other people that they veer off and they're doing something else. And I tell everyone I go, there's nothing wrong with taking cues from someone else. Mr. Beast, if you don't know who Mr. Beast is, I feel like you've probably never been on YouTube. He talks about it. He's like, there are some people that completely will almost word for word do what I do. Don't do that. Get your own niche. Take cues. Be inspired by someone and say, hey, I started doing something this way because so-and-so did it. But do it with your own flair. And that sounds exactly like what you're doing. Like, you're like, hey, I kind of like doing reviews, but I'd rather just watch someone else do the reviews. I enjoy doing, this aspect of it. And I feel like when people start doing stuff like that, they get something, they get a different viewer, and those viewers tend to like it. I told Tony's Figs, I said, you need to, when you do reviews, when you're starting to do them, compare them, if you have them, to your customs. And that has done absolutely wonderful for him because it's something different. Here he is saying, hey, here's my custom. I'm gonna compare it to the Joe figure here, and I'm gonna kind of show you what I did and how close I came to my idea and what they decided to do. And it's something different. It's something I can't do. It's not something I can give you, but it's something that very few other people can do. And like what you're doing is awesome because it's something everyone needs something different. If everyone did my live stream, good luck.
Yeah, from what I see you do that's different from everybody else. You'll compare to 3 3/4 because you have access to that. You have it, which is a cool thing. I think that's something very niche. And even when I do my reviews, like I'm true to what I say. I want to show you the beauty of this action figure. So I haven't done a review in actually a while, but when I put it up there, you see I do different things. I might take some pictures, or for the most part, I'm going to have it turn it around. I'm going to have it illuminated real good so you can see every nook, cranny, and crevice for yourself. Even when it comes down to articulation with it, like I'll go over the points on it, but my biggest thing is just look and see, like, look how beautiful this figure is, man. And when it's got that hot light on it like that, there's nothing like it, man. It just puts it in a whole different aspect, man. But far as all the different parts of the action figure game, man, I like it all, man. I don't have much of them, but every now and then when I would toy hunt, man, I'll throw some of them on there. Cause be honest with you, regardless of the fact, I'm gonna be doing it anyway, whether I was on camera or off camera.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be going through the store. I'm gonna be looking for action figures. I'm gonna be fucking around with action figures. I'm gonna be posing them up. I'm gonna be trying to do this, that, and the third. I'm gonna be taking pictures. So whether you seen this on YouTube or Instagram or not, this is gonna be going on anyway. It's just what pieces I want to throw at it today, man. And I watch everybody's stuff. Some of the guys that I like that kind of inspired me when I first came in was D Amazing. I liked him, and he has his own way. And to be honest with you, it's nothing crazy or spectacular, but he has his own way. Nobody else can do it like that. He's calm, he's cool, he's collective. He could throw that thing into a pose like it ain't nothing, and that's all. But he does it to perfection, and it's quick. It's like 10, 12 minutes at the most, and he's out of there. You know what I'm saying? That's his formula, and that's what it is. I had to find my. It took me a little bit of time to find my formula, but I'm comfortable where I'm at. Who was I watching? What's this? Yo Joe Jerk. He was on talking with my man Legend Series, and he was just saying about how he does editing, and he was like, a lot of people just gotta understand, man. Like sometimes, man, shut the fuck up. Like I had to learn how to just stop talking because you're gonna say the same shit 2 or 3 times, or come in with an edit and just cut it.
That's one of the reasons why mine goes so long. Is I try not to do any cuts, and I know I end up repeating myself. But at the same time, when you have people telling you, "Hey, I love what you're doing. I love how the things you tell me." Sometimes you repeat yourself. Awesome. Like. It tells you you're doing something right that people are enjoying.
To be honest with you, the way you do your reviews, you need time. You can't do it because you take out everything. You take out everything, every little piece. You go over it. So to be honest with you, to do something like that on average, you're going to be about 15 minutes. 15. You know what I'm saying? Oh, more.
15. no,
or 20 minutes, to be quite honest with you.
And I'd rather not. I would rather not do all these like edits where a lot of people would do it. Like all of a sudden, like it's edited, they're showing you the weapon, then they're showing you the next weapon. I mean, I could edit all that out, but to me, it's just like I don't want to do that. And people don't seem to like. I want to show you what the figure is like, and a lot of that came from some things that people said to me. Like somebody accused me of, and I didn't even realize that I said it, that hopefully CoverGirl's arm isn't broken. And then I opened up the box and it was. He accused me of lying about it, that I knew that it was already broken. And I had to go back and watch the video and go, oh, I did say that. But why would I lie about that? Like,
yeah,
I don't like, I have no reason to lie about that. That's just absolutely stupid.
There's only one time I could say somebody, which I didn't have anybody say it, but I never believed that figures were being swapped until it happened to me. So I threw it up on YouTube, and it was the Tiger Force Duke with the Ram cycle. Somebody swapped it out and put a Foosh fucking ninja in there or something, man. And that was like, damn, they really are doing it. This was the first one, the plastic packaging stuff was going on, man. So I was afraid somebody was gonna say like maybe somebody did, like, you know, it was all staged, but it wasn't, man. That shit wasn't, man. Somebody swapped my damn figure, and I just decided to put it on there.
I've been lucky that I never had it happen. And the first person that I know personally that it happened to was Beast Battleground. That he got, I think, a water bottle and an Amazon Grunt. So Grunt came from Amazon. I want to say it was a water bottle. So it had the weight to it. But he's the first person that I know personally. Obviously, you would see them. And I can say this. I went and returned a figure to Walmart. It was actually Shooter. Because they both shipped at the same time between Pulse and Walmart. And when I took it back, the lady was like, she's like, I got to open this up and make sure that it's the right figure. And I was like, you know what? I'm really impressed by that because there's been so many people swapping stuff. It also made me laugh because there's someone that's going to be pissed off that the box is now open, assuming that the figure's been swapped.
It was a mess, man. That shit was just, it was bad, man. To be quite honest with you.
It's bad enough that even in the windowed packages, the employees don't know or they don't care, but at least the buyer could see it.
Yes, and that's my biggest thing because, be quite honest with you, with that G.I. Joe packaging, ironically, towards the end, them boxes was getting fired. They was putting some nice graphics on them.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing is I think I'd rather have the window so I could see what's going on inside of here before I purchase this. And, you know, I won't have to waste a bunch of time, man.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. I love the windowless packaging because it looked so good. But I really wish they would have incorporated that into the new boxing.
Yes, yeah, like some of that artwork that they were doing. Yeah,
but, you know, it's a corporation. They are about saving money. Where can we cut corners? Again, they're like politicians. The only reason why they care about you is if it pads their pocketbook.
Pretty much.
I fully believe that. So if Hasbro can say, "Oh, hey, look what we're giving you," as long as it's making them money.
And be honest, they're not supposed to care. If they did, we wouldn't even be getting no product from them because they'd be done went broke, man. So in order to be a machine, you got to be a monster.
Exactly. And again, like a lot of times when I say stuff like this, people think I'm excusing the $1 billion, company, but the truth is,
I ain't gonna say that.
they're a $1 billion company because they make less mistakes than more. Although Hasbro's made a lot of mistakes with some of the stuff they've recently bought and then sold off, but that's how you become a $1 billion company, or that's how you become a billionaire. Have you ever worked for a broke person? No. If so, you're probably not getting paid.
Correct, so, man. You have to be I was what my dad said. You have to be a shrewd businessman, and you have to survive. Like I said, which I'm not making excuses for them. And be honest with you, if they do something I don't like, then I'm not purchasing. Then that's on the back fall of them as being a businessman. Well, damn, let me change up what I'm doing so I can get my customers back. You know what I'm saying? So my hand is not forced on anything. It's just if I want it, I'll get it, and if not, then I'm not gonna fuck with it. And they're gonna feel the blunt of that.
I'm with you 100%. Again, when you do talk about, when you talk about this, people get mad at you. And I had someone recently say that I'm defending a $1 billion company, and it's like I'm not. I'm just telling you from their point of view. Just because I tell you what someone's point of view is from doesn't mean it's what I believe should happen. I understand why they put those stupid patches in the Rattler. I don't agree with it, but they need to make up money somewhere. I think it's bullshit. I'll be 100% honest. I think it's bullshit.
It is. Be honest with you, but see that's because I worked in corporate America for a small bit also. And what it is just disconnect, because like I said on my video, man, like they were better off not even putting those patches in there or mentioning it. So what you had, you stirred up some bees by doing that. Like you were better off. We would have been better off if you just presented 2 tiers and be like, well, we've been like, well, damn, that's shitty. But the patches is almost like an extra slap in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like you shouldn't even brought that shit up. You know what I'm saying?
If
and
the
be honest
patches
with you,
if the patches just would have been like, they just come with it.
Yes. Be honest with you, nah, fuck it. Like, nah, they shouldn't even. Nah, they don't even come with. Why is that even here? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm with you because it's not a cosplay item.
Yeah, it shouldn't even been packaged with that. To be honest with you, they lost money by having to package that or set up a piece of plastic to hold that in. They lost money by doing that. They were better off not even mentioning. And it's just corporate world with a disconnect. And to get back on that, like, be honest with you, it's not Hasbro. I just think America is really just tired with capitalism, which that's what makes our country go.
Todd C says, Ghostbusters patches made sense. You're absolutely right. If this was a Wild Weasel helmet and they gave you patches with it, it would make sense because that's a cosplay.
Yes.
But again, like, I know Aaron loves the patches. Aaron loves the patches because he dresses up because he's not an adult. I'm not giving up the patches because maybe someday they are worth money. But it's part of being a completionist. I'm going to keep them with it. But what am I going to do with them?
Of course, I seriously might put them on a flight jacket. To be quite honest with you, shit, they here. You're laying around. You might as well do something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I might just put them on a flight jacket, man. To be honest with you, but it's to the point where. Like I say, I support HasLabs because it doesn't really bother me. It's really the same thing whether I put in a pre-order or not. I mean, on that issue, if I like the item, if I think the price is right on it, I'll get it. But it's getting to the point that we prove to you that we want these items. To be honest with you, they should have just sold no tiers. You get Baroness, you get the Gunner, and we'll end the patches, and everything is for $325. You guys want it or not?
Yes and no, because how many of these trouble bubbles do we see go on clearance?
Well, you know I mean? I'm talking about as far as HasLab, but just need to get rid of the tiers. Why don't you just go ahead? Because be honest with you, if you didn't have the tiers, I would buy that plane with Wild Weasel for $325. I think that's worth it with me because I got everything I need. I got Wild Weasel, I got missiles, and I got blast effects.
He doesn't mean that, Hasbro. He doesn't mean that. He doesn't mean that.
I do mean that shit.
No, you can't say that too loud. They hear that, and they take your stuff away. I know. I understand what you're saying. I was the same way when it came to the his take. I said I would have spent $300 for that, for everything that you're getting, with with the his tank driver. And to me, if none of the tiers would have hit, I would have been happy with that his tank, and the driver. Luckily, we hit everything. The Dragonfly, the exact same thing. If we only would have got Wild Bill, that Dragonfly, we didn't hit any other tiers, I would have been fine spending $275. I'm the same way with the Rattler. But not you, but Hasbro, they set the precedence that, hey, this is what we give you. 4 figures, you get 1 with the original, and then each tier will be a figure. Emily just recently said it. It was something that we learned. People want figures. And then the next HasLab, they take 1 away.
Well, I'm just thinking, I think they need to consolidate the package. Of course, more figures better, but just get rid of the tiers. Give us everything for that one price, because it was almost like a no-brainer with the Rattler, man. That's going to get funded. You know it is. That's why they did the patches. But, I mean, just go ahead and add Baroness and the other guy in there, because I believe it would break 20,000 regardless of the fact, man. But like I said, it also goes back to the tug of war of fandom, consumerism, and capitalism. So those things tug of war back and forth.
I'm actually going to do a video about the HasLabs, and I think it's actually going to be my topic for Monday also. But there's a lot to it where, you remember, it's not just G.I. Joe HasLab. They also have to, make sure that, you have Marvel Legends and Star Wars going, hey, we can't do that. Like, ours won't do that because they already look bad that we can pack all these accessories in our G.I. Joe because we don't pay a licensing fee. So there's a lot. I mean, there's so many. Again, it's corporate America. And you seem to understand that completely. But yeah, it's just, again, we go around and around on that, and I like having an actual discussion rather than people yelling.
It could be. You could talk for hours about it, but I will say this before we leave that talk. I like HasLabs. I mean, to me, it really doesn't bother me like that, man, because I can wait on stuff, and be honest with you, to me, it's no different from me pre-ordering something out 8 months from now or whatever. Of course, with that, it takes a little bit longer, but I will say this: Hasbro, every HasLab that I got a top-notch project. I mean, are they perfect? No, but they damn sure satisfy me and have blown my mind away every time I've opened one.
But I mean, here's what I can say is that I backed the Robo Skull, and I was just looking yesterday at these 3 Kickstarters that I backed: Robo Skull, Call Sign Longbow, and Operation Recall. They were all back in 2022. Robo Skull was April of 2022. So 5 months after the Sky Striker. I won't get that Robo Skull till probably November if we're lucky.
Is this the same Robo Skull that was with that 1/18 scale that they had at Joe Fest?
Yes.
Man, that shit been up for a minute. Y'all ain't got that yet? Yeah, that is crazy. You talking about that has been 2+ years.
Yeah. And like Operation Recall, it's been almost 2 years. There's not even an idea of when those figures are coming. Call Sign Longbow, it's been over 2 years. They're going to have 1 figure finally show up. So we're going to be waiting 3 years for that. Now, I backed them because I believed in the people. And they seem to be doing their job. But at least when it comes to Hasbro, say what you want. They're a multi-billion-dollar corporation because of things like this. I know I'm going to get the product. So in 18 months, I'm going to have this Rattler. In roughly 18 months, I will get the Dragonfly from when it funded. So I feel better backing those because I know they're going to come. If I would have backed, Mattel's Eternia, I know it's coming. Because it's backed by $1 billion corporation. But any of these other crowdfunders could easily just vanish.
Well, let's take the money away from it. For one, it's a trusted brand. Like, Hasbro is really the grandfather of action figures. It's the daddy, to be quite honest with you. And it's just like on Tommy Boy. They're a trusted brand. When his dad was like, I could stick my head up a cow's ass to get a good look at a T-bone, but I'd rather take my butcher's word for it. And Hasbro is the butcher. They're gonna deliver.
God, Tommy Boy is such a good movie.
Hell yeah, that's classic. Classic. But hey, he was right though. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to do all this and wondering, sticking my head up a cow's ass when my butcher, I trust him. He's gonna cut my meat and he's gonna have it there for me. Now he might not be too fast, but he's gonna have it there and it's gonna be a quality cut.
Yeah, but like same time Toy said, vanished like Airwolf. Exactly. These people backed as Airwolf. The guy kept saying he was going to come, and then finally was like, "I'm not doing this anymore. I won't answer anything." Took everyone's money.
Yeah. That's why I didn't mess with ramen for a long time. To be quite honest with you.
I'm with you 100%, and I would say I've become friends with Ace. We talked a lot at Joe Fest. We've talked at other places, and he. You know, I would take my shots all the time. And not that I thought he was going to rip us off, but I'm like, you've taken a lot of money from people and, you know, you haven't given any product. Well, now the ramen racer is out. I've seen it. I reviewed it. It's good.
I watched yours on that.
Yeah. So now that when I'm seeing his product, I'm like, I think I have faith now that anything that you back, you're going to get. But you are going to be waiting 18 to 24 months before you get it.
Yeah. You know, with them coming to Joe Fest was huge, to be quite honest with you, because that's when I seen the product. I'm like, wow, this is nice. And they were very approachable. And like I said, it's a smaller, more concentrated con. But for them to come from Hong Kong to Augusta, Georgia, you know what I'm saying? That was huge.
He was at PowerCon and had all the product there. I mean, that was before the tanks and everything, but he had the ramen racer, and that's when I met him. And I said, seems like a nice guy, but hey, we haven't seen any product. Mm-hmm. Then the product came, and he said, hey, you don't need to apologize. You had actual concerns. You weren't just coming out and making stuff up, but then you got the product in, and I saw your review, you were honest about it. You did a proper review, and so we're totally cool now, which is awesome.
Yeah. I backed that Hunter tank. So I'm gonna give him a go. It won't be here until end of 25, but I'm like, I want it. I seen it in person. I think it's dope. I can wait on that.
So Ace, if you're listening, I am all open for any of the stuff that you want to send out to the reviewers before it actually gets shipped out. I'm willing to be a show for a bit.
Me too. I met you too, Ace. It's a Savage Land. Send me something too. Send me a little care package or something too.
So I will have a review on the Hunter because while I was there, I messaged my buddy Greg, who always drops off the stuff for me to review. And I'm like, hey, this Hunter, it's 140 shipped. Do you want it? I'm like, it looks nice. And he was he's like, dude, are you sure? That's a lot. He's like, that's a long wait. I'm like, dude, you wait on a lot of other shit. I'm like, $140 shipped. This thing is fucking big. And it's nice.
That showing at Joe Fest and that ramen razor, I gotta have the bread van. I gotta have the Tiger Orange joint. So I'm definitely gonna be doubling back on them, man. But great showing, to be quite honest with you. And that tank is dope.
And honestly, I mean, Ace he's very, very personable when you meet him.
He's approachable.
So, all right. So let's get into your YouTube channel a little bit more. So I always like to ask, where do you want to see your YouTube channel go from here? What are you looking in the end? What do you want with it?
In the end, I wanted to cross over, basically, man, come more on the mass media, and I think I can achieve that by going into just basically what I wanted to do, the storytelling, the stop motion, making the figures go, and just kind of creating their own stories, man. Almost in a kind of a robot chicken way, man. I think I got a lot of great ideas. I think I got a lot of great storylines. I think I can do some funny stuff. My thing is just getting those things moving and going, man, and just getting deeper into production. To be quite honest with you.
Okay. Now I have to ask about this whole monetization. Now, I didn't realize you weren't monetized, and you are obviously at the point you can be monetized.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, Aaron said that he said he's not monetized and he doesn't want to. Fuller Figures, another person that I had on before, wonderful guy. He's the same way. He goes, I just don't want to monetize. Is there a reason why you've decided? Because for me, it was actually one of the biggest things was to try and get monetized to help support my habit. And I look at this. I do look at this as a job, but as a job that I actually enjoy doing. I'm also not looking to get rich off it. But what is your purpose for not monetizing? Because someone's getting the money. Someone is getting the money. It's called YouTube. What's the reason why you choose not to?
I eventually do want to do it. I just don't think it too much matters right now at this point. One day I will click that button and turn it on. But I don't know. I just think right now I'm just keeping my kung fu pure. You know what I'm saying? I'm like Ryu and shit. I'm just walking the earth barefoot. You know, I don't really care about money or clothes or anything like that. Just a tattered gi and just trying, you know what I'm saying? Really on some shit like that, man. But I will turn it on one day, but I just right now it's not a huge issue for me. It's just really working on my craft and getting the art there, because let's just say it like this, like just say I'm just working and I just hit one video one day that hits, which is rare in this field. Only the big dogs do it.
Yeah.
Boy, a video hit 100,000. Well, shit, I need to turn this on. You know what I'm saying? Because that's almost like an instant check. You know what I'm saying? So right now in the grind stage, I know my channel probably bring in a few dollars here and there, man. But to me, it's not to that level yet. It's not major. But I will flick it on one day, man. For me. I swear to God, it's just really all about the toys, me having fun, the therapeutic activity that I do, man, down here in my basement, man. And that's pretty much where it's at right now.
So
because I could have been monetized like a year ago, maybe over a year ago, something like that.
Yeah. So Legend Series says if you ever need any help with stop motion, he's willing to help you.
Nice. Legend Series is my man, yo. He got a lot of talent too, man. And that's what I want to get into. Like we talk about like the followers in here, but on this side of the internet, like the black hole, what I call it, we're not shit really. Like the rest of the internet, like 50,000 views of them, that's moderate. You know what I'm saying? So, but I will say this: in this small little concentrated black hole, we have the most talent. Like all those other people, like reporting on just random shit on the internet, they're not really doing too much. I've seen people work so hard on here and really deserve like 1 million views. You know what I'm saying? Mostly all of us, because we got to put so much into it, man. And I want to get to that level. Like if this ever like crossed over, like and became a big hit, man, like this thing will go through the roof. To be honest with you, I think it's a lot bigger than what we think. To be honest with you, I think we got the power to control. Like, be honest with you, all us G.I. Joe creators, if we really pushed, broke into the other side of the media, we could resurrect G.I. Joe within itself on our own. We just have to get out there.
So we as like toy collectors, we're in a very small niche compared to everything else. Just like skateboard, there's a small niche. You start talking about football, all right, you have a big piece of the pie. When you start doing movies and TV, big, huge piece of the pie. Politics, same thing. I've told my moderators before, especially Matthew, I was like, if I really wanted to make money off this, I'd pick a political side and do a political show. Because I guarantee you I'd get money because I'm very vocal, right? That's not where my passion is. My passion is talking about toys. If you were talking to me, in my 20s, and we had this, I would have had a skateboard YouTube channel. You know, I would have gladly interviewed pro skaters and different things like that. But it's like, for me, it's, yeah, there's other things that I enjoy doing, but my passion is here in this toy collecting. So I know we're never going to hit, be huge. Would I love to have that play button sitting behind me? And if you guys don't know, I think once you hit 100,000 views, or maybe it's 1 million views on a video, you'll get a play button. Yeah. When you hit 100,000 subscribers, we're never going to hit that. I'll tell you that much. We're not going to hit that in the toy community. There's very few people that have done it. I think Shardamus does. I don't know. Pixel
Amazing's out there. I think he's like 90 something. But there's only like a handful, and you can count on one hand that's over that 100,000, man. But my thing is, the crazy thing about this is, like, all the toys we collect really relates to a whole bunch of different people. So it's not just really G.I. Joes. Like, you have toys. What's that show everybody likes to watch? I cannot think of it. It's like the kids from the 80s. They're mixing up everybody with them now. Damn, I can't think of it. But there's so many different properties that can relate to so many different things and people with these toys. It just gets bigger than one genre. But also too, man, I would like to also dibble and dabble on the other side of the internet. And just remember how we were talking earlier, we were talking about the punk scene, the New York hardcore scene, the pretty much that early 80s hip hop intertwining with punk. I would love to do a documentary on that. So I also want to kind of get into some other things in the internet also too, man. But I think it's really my passion just for creativity, to be quite honest with you.
I feel so much the same way that you do. And a lot of that comes from just creating content. And I watch a lot of stuff about growing a YouTube channel. And the moment people hear that, they think, oh, you just want to be popular. But it's not so much that. It's you watch these content creators that talk about, you grow your channel by giving your viewers something better that they want. You're not supposed to, oh, I'm going to give you this so I can grow. You're giving someone something, and because of that, you're just automatically going to attract more people. It's like a bodybuilder. As you work out, you grow. It's a byproduct of it, right?
Correct.
So I'm the same way with you. I want to do stuff with movies, but it's like, as much time as it takes that I sit here doing the toy stuff, and like I said, that's my passion, it makes it extremely difficult to sit down and put together a movie, like a movie review, or talk about some of these things I want to do with movies, because there's a lot more editing that's involved than what I do. Mm-hmm. But like you, like, the more you create stuff, the more it's like, well, what else can I do? What else can I do that maybe isn't in this genre? Because movies still fit that that flow of what we're doing, the entertainment. Mm-hmm. But it's something different. But it's like, I already have a little grasp here. I understand how to captivate people and get people to come in and listen. What else can I do? But then you gotta say, there's only 24 hours in a day.
Correct, man. And be honest with you, but I think even with toys, man, you want to stay on the ball, but you kind of get to a certain point where like I actually this summer I really haven't had time, man. And that's another thing too. Like, as far as money wise, like, I'm a self-made man. Like, I support myself. Like, I started my own trucking company, and that's really where my focus is on, trying to get money at. Of course, with the YouTube stuff, like I said, once again, you have to be a shrewd businessman. I am putting my time into it, but when that time will come, yes, I'm looking for something. I'm looking for something more than money still. I'm looking for creative freedom. I'm just looking to say, like, hey, I did that. But yes, also, like I said, if I'm putting in the work and the views are coming in. I'm doing this, that, and the third. Yeah, I do want a check attached to that. Then also, man, just the way my mind works, getting even bigger, because actually totally owning, like if I got to a space where I created a show, like actually totally owning it and like not letting YouTube give me the 60-40, the 7-30 cut. Nah, you're gonna get 20. I'm keeping 80 because I hustled all my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand business, I understand dollars, I understand my worth. You know what I'm saying? I understand what I need to get and what you need to get. And that's pretty much what I do every day, like in this trucking, like, negotiating on the phone with brokers like we in Wall Street and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like if I just can't do it, I can't do it. So the dollar amounts, those are nothing to me. That'll come out, that'll work it out. I think my biggest thing now is just really tapping into my creativity, because really technically right now to me it's still a hobby, to be quite honest with you. It definitely doesn't put the bacon on the table. That truck turning wheels on the road, that's what puts bacon on my table right now.
No, and I'm the same way. And for me, like you touched on it before, you said, hey, you know what? The one thing about your videos is, you're reviewing. Don't let anyone else know this. You're comparing them to the O-ring figures. That was the whole reason why I started doing it. I found these classified. I didn't know anything about them. I was picking up old rings, and I saw these, and I'm like, I should just make a video and compare them. I've found so many little things on the O-rings that I never knew were there because I wasn't looking at design. I was just playing with them, right? And to this day, I'm like, I cannot believe other people haven't figured that one out. Like, oh, I have the O-ring. Why don't I just compare? No, please, people, don't do it. I kind of screwed the pooch by saying, yeah, I have the most reviews of any gridiron, like anyone doing any gridiron. I'm pretty sure I still do. And it's crazy because I'm like, they almost always do like super well. And now I'm seeing more and more people do it. I'm like, I should have kept that one. I should have gate kept that one and not said anything about it.
Yeah, man. To be honest with you, man. But like I said, everybody has their own thing. Like some people, just everybody has their own niche, and they should just lean into it. Some people just talk shit, and that's what they're good at. Fucking lean into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, or some people just drop a ton of fucking videos. Like they just be talking about anything, but it works. That's their formula, because people want to they just fuck it. You're here. I might as well look at it. You know what I'm saying? So it's more on a point of that, man. So, man, I watch all this shit from top to bottom. I look at everybody's stuff, not everything that everybody do, but I do look at everybody. I be in comments, like I'm 10 threads in on one fucking comment, like that type shit, because I just love it so much. Like I said, from anything, I'm a fan of this, so I don't really knock anybody for what they do. I'm pretty sure each YouTuber out there has put up a video, at least one video where I'm like, let me see what he talking about. You know what I'm saying? So, and it all goes down to, like I say, everybody has their own little niche. And I think I've got to a point where I've kind of getting into mines, man. And I'm in a good spot with my channel, man, to be honest with you, because my channel's been around close to 3 years, but really only a year and a half, 2 years. Because when I first did it, I did 50 episodes, and then my laptop crashed and I was out for like 9 months, and then came back in. Yeah, so I gained a lot in a short period of time, and I did it organically. I didn't have to do no gimmicks. I didn't have to run and do this or none of that. Just unapologetically was me. And if you watched any of my videos, whether you thought they were good or bad, you can tell that dude actually really likes this. He loves this hobby. So that's my biggest thing really right now where I stand.
Yeah. No, and the other thing is, if you are creating content, don't just look at like toy tubers. Look at what other YouTubers do too, whether it be in the movies and entertainment, whether it be even political stuff. I mean, just look at what people are doing and take cues from everyone of things you like, not just like, hey, this person does that. If someone does something and you think that it works for your channel, that's the best way to do it.
I think I think the biggest thing is when you come into this thing, if you're really into this, just naturally be yourself, man. You'll find your way. You know what I'm saying? You'll find your way. Because even though I look at a lot of channels, I don't never necessarily say get inspired and ever say, well, I need to do that. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of naturally go into things that I want to do. And if you're really in it for the love of it, you're gonna do that. But if you come into it like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this, because this and this work for that person, and I'm gonna get this, then it ain't gonna work. Or shit, it might. I don't know, depending on how hard up you trying to make something happen. Shit, to be quite honest with you,
but I think when you see someone, it's like, I like that idea of what they're doing, and then you try and figure out how can I
we'll pay homage to them or whatnot. Just say, hey,
how can I incorporate that into what I'm doing?
Because matter of fact, what my man Zilla, I put this on Instagram. He took the Outback head and put it on the Winter Soldier. I like that. Same thing, just like how you did with the Recondo. But I'm like, my man Zilla did it, so I get inspired by things like this. But this is all in fun, and playability. Damn, I'm spitting like Sylvester. This is all in fun and playability, man. But as far as how a pattern of somebody's channel goes, you got to be a pretty bold person to copy somebody's pattern of their channel, man. Oh. And be honest with you, in all honesty, you're not gonna make it if you do that. To be quite honest.
Oh, I'm with you there, but we've seen it before. I don't even remember this guy's name. I sent it over to my moderator, Matthew. This is before I even had Ed as my moderator. And I just came across this guy's video. And it wasn't that it was anything bad. And I sent it over to Matthew, and I go, who is this? And he's like, he looks and he goes, that's Dan Larson. And I went, it is, isn't it? So it wasn't Dan Larson from Secret Galaxy or Toy Galaxy. But this guy, he sat in a chair the same way that Dan does. He talked with the same cadence as Dan. He tried doing the video the exact same way Dan did. It wasn't inspired. It was a copycat of exactly what Dan did, except for he wasn't funny. He wasn't comical about anything. And I'm just watching it. I'm like, this is just, you completely copied someone. Now, to copy someone like Dan, where everything is really structured. Now, if you try to copy me, good luck, because I'm all over the place. All right?
Dan Larson is structured. He actually has like a recorded show. Looks like.
And you know what? And that is his job now. Slade Post says, yes, your videos are awesome, Savage Land. Love what you're doing with the table. So see, you have something. No, Dan, I met him at Joe Fest. I met him a couple of times, but I met him at Sergeant Red's a couple weeks ago. Very personal guy, super nice. Remembered who I was, probably because I gave him a sticker. But yeah, he's structured. But that's his profession. That's what he does. Like that's what him and his partner. That is what they do for a living now. And he was on another show and they were talking to him about it. And he said, well, he goes, in the past year or so, this was maybe a year ago. And he said, I recently stopped working to do this. He goes, my partner, who's you never see because he's behind the scenes, he stopped working a long time ago. But we all live differently. I wasn't willing to give up how much money I made, where he obviously was willing to probably live off of maybe a little bit less, or maybe he invested differently, right? He really didn't go into but they're partners. And he said, that's, I can do this now, but that's his job. That's why his videos get 100,000 views or whatever they're getting. He's making money, merchandise, all their sponsorships. But like when I see someone completely copy what someone else does, you almost want to say, hey, listen, there's that word, guy, listen. It's okay to take cues, but don't be someone else.
Yeah.
You don't want your play-by-play guy to just imitate someone else completely. Although they do, a lot of them will do that in football and baseball, hockey, or whatever. But you don't want to completely imitate.
Yeah, no, it's the cadence of a play-by-play guy, but none of them are really alike. But that cadence that try to keep up with it. But if you're doing everything, I caught myself not necessarily like doing that, but I caught myself doing it one time. It was like my 8th or 7th video, and I caught myself talking like Kyle Peterson. And Kyle Peterson has kind of like a salesman voice. Hey, this is Kyle here, and I caught myself doing my review like that. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're nothing like him. And Kyle is cool as a fan, but I'm like, man, like I need to just calm down and just talk regular, and I'll be okay.
A couple things. So, but when you watch someone a lot, you might have a tendency to maybe imitate them without realizing it. 2,
True.
Kyle Peterson has like the biggest fucking hands in the world. That guy has like just grabs a whole classified figure and he's like, today we're going to be reviewing this. And it's like, good Lord, I can barely get my hand around it. All right. The bottom of it, you're like fucking palming it like a baseball or a basketball.
I never noticed that. I gotta take a look at that. He said he doesn't look like it, but he said he's pretty big, like 6'4", 6'5", because he said his dad's like 6'8", 6'9", or some shit.
I've just noticed, like, he'll grab that, like, and I'm talking about the first classified boxes. He'd have like a whole hand and be like, "Good Lord, dude!" Like,
yeah, man. But like he definitely put in some work. He's just pretty much is really nothing special to him, but he's just pumping it out. And I've watched him pump it out for about 2 or 3 years. I watched him go from 2,000 to 30-something, 40-something thousand he's at now, and it's just. I don't even know how the fuck he even affords all that shit, man. It's just crazy, yo.
Well, a lot of people after time they do get product. You can kind of figure out some of the people that get free product, and we've discussed it with the Mezco. You cannot tell me that the Amazing doesn't get. Maybe he's not getting free product, but there has to be a list where it's like, all right, well, we're shipping the Amazing out right away. There's a few Mezco people that always get them first, and that's fine. You work hard for this, right? I mean,
I don't have a problem with that, man. To be honest with you, I know that was like a problem in the community before, but man, if they putting in the work and the time, I don't have a problem with that. I just don't know how much, which I don't care how little or how much they get, but if they're getting product like that all the time, that's fucking fantastic.
Exactly.
To be quite honest with you.
The only thing that I ask from someone that's doing a review is if they get something for free, is that they let people know that, hey, you know what? I got this from Hasbro. I got this from Super 7. So people can know if they can kind of watch and be like, oh, wow, that was a little bias of a review there. Like you were very positive about it. You didn't want to say, I think that really, because I have found that a lot of people watch what I do and others, and they go, "You have no idea how much money you saved me." Usually people say, "You have no idea how much money you've cost me by watching your review and going and buying stuff." But I know there's been a few things that people have been like, "Yeah, I didn't buy that because of your review," and I'm not trying to influence anyone one way or another. I'm just giving you my experience with the figure, and my experience may be different than yours.
Correct.
I may be mad. I sometimes will lose it. And
but be honest with you, man, for the action figures that come out, I would say 95% of the time, man, I've hadn't had a problem with any action figures. So a lot of times, like a lot of action figures getting put out is good, but it's just that 5%, cover girl's arm coming off, and it would come off. It wasn't broken; it just came off easily.
Yes,
like all you had to do was just a tug and it come off, but it wasn't broke. You just pop it back in, and I believe I said that on my interview. But little stuff like that. But for the most part, man, even down to the Marvel Legends shit. I mean, for the most part, man, they're good to go. It's just the meticulous things you want to say, like this figure looks great, but doesn't stand worth shit. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And that's what I said about that Baroness on that Rattler. She looks awesome, But if she cannot stand up, I don't care if you gave me a baroness with stilettos. She needs to stand up.
And if you watch me enough, you know my feelings on stands. All right, I don't like stands. They look awful. If they're just in a static pose, but if you have them in a battle scene, stands look absolutely awful.
That's almost like disgraceful if you're really a poser of action figures to break out a stand. Like, it's not almost like disgraceful, but it makes you feel less of a man if you can't get that damn thing up to stand. I don't care if it's standing on one toe. It needs to stand without a stand. If I can't get it to do that, I feel even when it comes down to sticky tack, like I feel disgraced if I have to use it to stand. Now, sticky tack I use for different things. Like say if I want to, kind of alter something, but to stand up, I should not be using any sticky tack. All balance, all figure. And
especially when it comes to like a G.I. Joe figure, they have big feet.
Right.
A Valorous figure, they have big feet.
Yes.
I understand why people have a hard time with a lot of the Marvel Legends where they have the small feet and they fall over. I still will say learn how to pose your figures. That's what made me pissed off about the Savage Crucible. Like that thing was gonna fall over.
Oh, so I seen those at Joe Fest, man. I got really interested about them, man. But I still haven't touched one of them yet. And would they have problems standing?
Yeah, they have weak ankles. Now they're supposed to be fixing them. My review. Well, I forgot how angry I got, but the owner sure did. The owner sure didn't forget because he made sure to tell me.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's how you realize like these guys are watching the reviews because he remembered specifically, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, he remembered specifically, and I had to go watch it again, and I was like, wow, I was pissed off, but I did not throw the figure like you said. I tossed it. But I didn't throw it. But
hey,
no one saw it. But no one like what?
I said at the end of the day, that's how you felt though,
Oh,
mean about that.
But like people didn't realize. I mean, I was so angry, not only because it was falling, but I had that productive Susan. You know the lazy Susan?
Yeah, like the shelf that turns. But you talking about the actual display? Yes.
Yeah, it's called a productive Susan because my ex, that's her name. She doesn't understand why it's called a lazy Susan. It should be called a productive Susan. So we're calling it productive Susan now. Because it works.
I never understood why it's called a lazy Susan either, man. I'm like, all right. No, because I got a shelf in my cabinet, and my brother said, "Oh, you got a lazy Susan." I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" You know what I'm saying? But when I first brought my house, but it's the little cabinet that spins around in there. But I noticed people calling the turntable that also too.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. So it's called the productive Susan. Everyone, if you use one, remember it's called the productive Susan. Tony finally said it. He said it before I did because him and I talked about it. And I played it for my ex, and she laughed, and she's like, "It's about time." I was like, I didn't name it. I didn't even know the name of it till you told me the name that it was called a lazy Susan. But yes, the turntable, but we call it a productive Susan. But no, I was trying to pose it and they kept falling over, and no one saw that because I didn't. I would delete it because I want to get 6 poses, but it kept falling, and finally I'm like, "Fuck it, I'm not even gonna do it. This is not gonna stand." And that was the end of the video, and I was mad. But he knew exactly who I was, and he had no qualm about saying something to me about it when I asked a question.
So this was at Joe Fest?
This was at Joe Fest, yeah.
Okay, because they was up in the front, and that's the first time I had laid eyes on them. I thought they looked pretty good, man. As far as sculpt and paint, they look amazing, man. But you would think they would stand up because they like dinosaur type people. They had big feet and shit, but you said the ankles are weak.
They have smaller feet, and they have articulated toes that aren't weight bearing. Because why have articulated toes if they're not weight bearing? And that's something I didn't agree with what he had said to me. But he said that they're fixing them, and if you're on the Kickstarter, they're supposed to be sending you out new ankles, so you won't have this problem. I don't know when, but that's how the whole talk came about. When he kind of called me out about throwing my figure, I'm like, I didn't throw a figure. I tossed it, and then we all watched it that night at Joe Fest, and we all agreed that it was a toss, not a throw.
Hey,
but it's good to know that. It's good to know that these companies are watching, that they're, that they're trying, hopefully they're watching to say, all right, people are upset about this. And to me, especially with these smaller companies, it's not about what comes out. It's how you move forward. How do you fix it? Are you going to make this bigger? Or are you just going to sit and be like, I don't give a shit? That's what I think Super 7 has done. Oh, well, people bought it. And now people finally stop buying it.
They're hit or miss, and for a long time I didn't know why people had the flack about them, because I'm not a Super 7 enthusiast. The Super 7 I brought was good. Like Super 7 Turtles, I think is great. I think they do a great job with those. They're thick, they're hefty. I haven't had a problem with them breaking, but I will say the Simpsons figures, like those aren't, to me, certain ones aren't worth what they're kicking out. Like I got Mo, and Mo's not worth $50. He feels hollow. I think that should have been like a $25, $30 figure. But then on the flip side, the Biggie Smalls figure that I got, the Notorious B.I.G. figure, fire, yo. It's sturdy. It feels hefty. I gladly paid $50 for that. So it's kind of a hit and miss line, to be quite honest. And the G.I. Joe line, to me, I wouldn't pay for that shit.
No,
because I brought Cobra Commander and Snake Eyes on sale last year for like $10 a piece when they got super discounted, and I was like, that's about as much as I paid for them, because they just feel hollow. I don't like them.
I hope they go on sale again, because I made so much money during the holiday season by putting that link out for Entertainment Earth. So many people bought them. People bought I think I sold, through my link, I think there was like 44 bats that sold. It was crazy. It was crazy numbers, because people were like, well, shit, they're like $11. If I use your code, I get 10% off. People were like buying them up like crazy. And for $10 or $11 or whatever you ended up paying, yeah, it was,
because I thought about dabbling in that line, but then I was like, well, shit, these are $10. Let me grab a Snake Eyes and Cobra Commander, because that's who I'm kind of interested in. Snake Eyes is cool, but I'm good. And the Cobra Commander, about the biggest thing I got from him was his cape, which I put it on the classified Cobra Commander. It's wired. It's got like a pink, like kind of cartoon color to it. So I'm like, that'll go with that perfect, man. But definitely not worth $50, $55, man. I think that.
And even worse when like the second wave came in and the faces weren't painted, and people complained about it. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the faces on Flint, Cover Girl, and I think the Baroness weren't painted, and the excuse that Brian Flynn gave was like, yeah, we understand they're not painted, but they still look good enough, so we're not going to do anything. And to me, that's a big fuck you. That's a big people pay.
I think he bites off. I think he had a couple of lines that he concentrated on, they could do a lot better. But they put out so much different product and product sizes to be like a smaller company. I think he kind of get lost. I think that's how they lost the Simpsons license. They just didn't have enough time to put it, and then the waves kept getting kicked out. Then you're doing sporadic stuff. So I think he bites off a little bit more than he can chew. I think he needs to focus on.
Did they lose the Simpson line? I know they lost Disney.
Yeah, they lost the Simpson line, so that line is discontinued. So all those sporadic figures is just a bunch of sporadic figures.
Yeah, and the same with the Disney stuff.
Yeah. But I forgot they were doing
Disney owns the Simpsons, so I'm not surprised there.
Yeah. They were doing the other Disney characters too. Yeah, so all that's done. But you know what? I think if he focused, I think Hasbro really threw him a bone. I think he could probably take that G.I. Joe O-rings to the next level because I like those little reaction figures. They don't have enough points of articulation for me. So I think if he takes those O-rings and really dive into those, I think that's where his money getter is going to be at, and kind of drop a lot of these extra stuff that he's doing. He don't need to stop doing the rap figures. Like I like that Notorious B.I.G. I thought that was fire.
Well, no, I had a problem with those reaction figures being $20. But when it comes to like the punk stuff they do, like I got a Rancid, there's a Gorilla Biscuits, Circle Jerks. I know they do Agnostic Front. These are bands that no one really knows, right? They're little punk bands. Yeah. So when you're saying, hey, we can't print that many, they're going to be $20. I'm good with that. But when you're talking about G.I. Joe and you're mass marketing it, don't try and sell me for $20 when I'm looking at this 5 POA, which, let's be honest, as kids, G.I. Joe took over Star Wars because they could actually move, unlike Star Wars that barely moved. And then I'm looking at it classified, and you're like, $5 more, I can get that? No, that ain't happening.
Yeah. They definitely at 15, those reactions really need to be like 12, 13. But yeah, you're right. They're like $20, which that's why they get discounted. I know that has to be a blow.
Oh yeah.
To them. But man, they I think he needs to kind of trim up his catalog a little bit, man. Drop off a lot of that dead weight. Now, what you're talking about, like the punk rocker toys, really any of the music toys, exactly. I think that's a go-getter because there's not going to be a lot of what's my man from Metallica that he made, Clint. Like, there's not going to be a lot of companies who's going to make an action figure of him, or my man from Motorhead, Lemmy. Yeah. You're not going to find that. Like, Hasbro's not going to make him. You know what I'm saying? So Notorious B.I.G., RZA from Wu-Tang, like he's making that. That's a niche right there. That's cool. Keep that.
Yeah, and that's fine to have a higher price point because you're like, I'm not going to make, I'm not, no one else is making them. He's doing skateboarders, right? Which, again, why you make skateboarders without skateboards, I don't understand. That's a whole other argument of mine. But it's like, all right, if you're going to tell me that these are $20, that's fine. How many people are going to buy these Power Pro to skateboarders? Probably no one but skateboarders, right? Maybe a few people that, grew up skateboarding and they remember Tony Hawk and all these other guys. But for the most part, you're not going to have that. With G.I. Joe, the Transformers that are up there, dude, you're overpaying. You're overcharging for that type of stuff. And you know it, especially for, the articulation that you get. Usually the paint is really good on them. That I will give them. Usually the paint is really good on them. But it is, yeah. So.
Yeah, it's hit and miss, and the hits they hit, but the misses could potentially take them out of there. But I'm not in his board of directors, a business room, or anything that. But the misses that he got are like strikeouts.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Andre the Giant, the Green Power Ranger. Oh my God, they're so bad.
Yeah. And now I don't know how long that I don't know, man. I don't know because there's some guys who like that G.I. Joe line. Just for the paint and the details, but I don't know how long that's gonna go because it seems like it's kind of like fizzling.
I think once he lowers the MOQ on it, so he's not making as many people really want cartoon accurate figures, and Hasbro's not doing that. They never have. So that's a good niche for him. The problem is, if he would have been smart, he would have said, all right, I can either make my figures, I can either make my ultimate figures fit in with the rest of my ultimates, or I bring them down to 6 inches and they can fit in with the classified. Well, fitting in with the classified would have made way more sense because that's what everyone's buying. So I don't think anyone realized Joe was going to do as good as it is doing right now.
Yeah, they really that classified team really just put up some nitrogen in the whole G.I. Joe toy game. But like I said, I think he needs to just totally drop the bigger figures. Stick with the O-rings because the O-ring is going to be based off everything he does is based off cartoon. Even those reaction figures, you notice those are a lot of cartoon characters.
So he did say the O-ring figures are going to be figures that have never been produced before.
Yes.
Which I love.
a lot of those are actually cartoon people that were from the cartoon too, like that barbarian guy and just that from that first episode. But just things like that. I think that's where he could really get it in at, man. So I don't know. I'm waiting to see. I know they only had the gray renders from Joe Fest, but I do like those Crimson Twins with the
awesome.
suits on. Yeah,
I
with those
love
suits
the twins. And they put the mirrored packaging. They showed the packaging. They're in their suits, but it's almost the same scene that we had on the original. And I'm like, that's what everyone wanted with the classified. Like, why did you give us a 2-pack, which they should have been? That makes no sense. And they wanted that mirrored packaging. You know they're going to do a retro version with that, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that happening. But they damn near almost got them close with the regular classified. So, but I'm pretty sure I can see them doing a retro of that.
Oh yeah, but if they give you a 2-pack with the mirrors, that's going to be one that people will say, "I want this one in box."
Yes, I can see that. I can see that,
and I probably would too. To be 100% honest, that might be something that I would actually keep in box because it's so iconic. There's never been another. Well, I can't say there's never. I can't think of another packaging that's like that. But they said, "Here's twins. We're going to put mirrors on the side because that's exactly what they are. They're mirrors of each other."
Yeah. Now that'll be that one. But with that retro, that is the only thing in classified that I actually keep mint. Like I was on a quest to do the first 1 through 100. And have that mint, and I've got that done. So after getting the 1 through 100, which is all the way up to the his tank, I start sporadically buying Joes. It's not like I gotta get this one, gotta get this one, gotta get this one because I completed my mission. To go past that to me just really didn't make any sense. Even though there's good Joes coming out, I'm just good with just buying that Joe and just having it loose. But what I have done, every time I buy a retro card, I try to get a mint retro card. That's what I've kind of gone to. Will I get all of them? I don't know, but it almost kind of too cool just to not have a collection of those retro card backs.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an inbox collector, the new packaging, the thicker packaging is really nice.
Oh yeah. It's
first
in the artwork too.
Yeah, those warmer ones. Well, I feel bad for any inbox collector that was trying to keep them nice because they were just trash. I know, buddy. You're almost ready?
Yeah. He's talking.
Well, I think it's about time to wrap it up here. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Everybody can find me at The Savage Land 8815. That's the handle. It's The Savage Land. That's the name of the show on YouTube. And then also, I don't know what happened on my Instagram, but for some reason I don't think I could put The Savage Land. But I'm at Geppetto. That's GAPPETTO 910. That's my handle on Instagram. Just put up pictures, man. I just put up random things, links to my videos, but check me out. That's where I'm at. We do a lot of different things from which we talked about, reviews, toy hunts, news, and my latest thing, just mess around on the table where we just pose up action figures. But for the most part, what you see me on here is for the love and beauty of an action figure.
And there is a link in the description to his YouTube channel. I will put a link to his Instagram channel once we wrap this up. So if you're still listening or you're watching on the replay, it'll be down there as long as I remember to do it. But I'll definitely do it with yours because your name isn't the easiest to find.
Correct, man. I appreciate that.
Spelled it out.
Yeah,
Until you just said it, I didn't realize what it was.
Yeah, man, it's Geppetto, but I almost kind of hate it, but it's my handle, man, because it just almost sounds like something else. Like I don't like that pedo in there and shit, yeah. I don't like that. I don't like anything with me sound like fucking pedo or anything like that. But to be honest with you, I picked it before we go because it's Geppetto, like from Pinocchio, and I feel like my action figures are my puppets, man. So that's why I call it.
I love that it's a story. I didn't realize until you said the name out loud. That's when I went, oh, that's from Pinocchio.
Geppetto, yes, the puppet master.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Michael, thank you so much. I had a great time. And I know before we went on, you said, yeah, I don't really talk all that much. And no, you talk.
Oh no! If it's time for me to perform, I'll get up on the stage. I'm just saying, like, I was saying, I'm not a super talkative person. You know, if you ever met somebody all that's like, damn, that's a talkative ass person. But me, I just mostly stay quiet and reserved, man. But if it's time for me to perform and get up on stage, man, I'll definitely bust it out, man. And be honest with you, man, it was very organic. It was an easy conversation to have. Be honest with you, I could talk about action figures all day. Be quite honest with you.
And that's why I have to cut it off around 3 hours, because I know some of us have to work in the morning. I think you do too. I know I do. And
yeah, I got to run in the morning, man. I got a load. I got a local load, man, but I got to run up to about an hour away from me. And I got to pick up Warbird tomorrow. I was actually able to nab her at a Target, so I'm gonna definitely grab her.
Well, I'll let you go so you can get going.
Yes,
so
sir.
everyone, check out his YouTube channel. Check out his Instagram. It will be in the link. I'll do it as soon as I get off of here. Again, Michael, thank you so much. I had a great time. I love these conversations. They're the best interviews when it's just an organic conversation. So anyway, I will see you guys all hopefully this Monday. Like I said, I'm running up 4 hours to drop my son off and then driving home, but I should be back before my Monday show. I know you said where you're at. Are there any specific days that you go live or that you drop videos, or is it just whenever randomly?
Actually, like I said, this summer, man, I'm kind of on vacation. It's really been kind of random, but probably at the end of this month, I'm actually gonna start doing some lives myself, man. I'm trying to do like a Saturday morning thing, maybe about 11 a.m.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. You talked about Saturday mornings, and you said I don't really see anyone that goes on. The full force is on.
Mm-hmm. Hey, but look, I thought about it like that. Look, somebody gonna have to make some room. Something there ain't up but 7 days in a week.
No, you're right. But when you were talking about it, you said, well, you're like, yeah, no one's on Saturday. I was like, actually, that's the big G.I. Joe. But
yeah. Hey, but look, man, there's space for everybody, man. But I think it'll be something cool, man. I actually kind of want to do that because just right before we go, like that live, man, is basically like gonna be like my soapbox show. It's just not gonna strictly be about G.I. Joe. We're gonna have a large array of topics.
I'm the first one that says, hey, if you want to go live, if you find a time and a day that works for you, you go. If you're a fan of mine, but you're like, I want to go live, and Monday at 9 p.m. is the only day that works for me, then you do that. You go live at 9 p.m. I'm not going to take offense to it. YouTube's a big, huge platform. There's the replay on it. There's the live on it. It's, you do when you need to do. I just heard you say that, and I was like, you may not watch the full force.
But that's probably what it was. Like, I know them, but I never really watched they live. They have a big following, man. That's why I say, like, there's so many different avenues you can go, because like you're not going to see everybody's thing, and I believe there's somebody out there for me. But like I said, my biggest thing is with my lives, I'm gonna have just a little bit more diverse conversation going on rather than G.I. Joe, which we can talk about G.I. Joe all day, but it'll be a little bit more.
I love that, because G.I. Joe won't always be here, so you want to have a wider variety if you're talking toys. In my opinion.
Yeah, man. People like that. So I haven't done soapbox in a minute, but people actually gravitate to that. I had a couple of guys at Joe Fest come on, like, hey man, there's a couple of shows you put me on to that I didn't know about, like hot boxing with Mike Tyson. There's a couple of times I talked about that on there. So it'd be more spread across music, TV shows, action figures, and it's just kind of like a soapbox. I'll be up there running my mouth.
Well, look at that. He will be going live soon, so go over there if you haven't. Subscribe to his channel. get the updates, because as you can see, this guy can talk. And I know I am an expert on people that can talk. Hence why I go, fuck, I went 4 hours last Monday. Like, I didn't plan on that. That's the longest one I did alone. I don't need to do it anymore. Anyway, thank you very much. We are going to go out. We are going to get going. I told you sometimes I don't know how to end. So we'll just say, everyone have a wonderful night. Thank you guys for tuning in. Michael, again, thank you so much for joining. I had a great time, and we'll do something again soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And thank you guys. God bless.